That one up. Oh, I grabbed the wrong video. That's all right. Good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. There I am. Let's see. I've got a few things to do. I'm way behind here. Let's find... Where am I at? Got a few things... Ooh, we did not do that. That was loud in my ears. Hopefully that wasn't too bad for you guys. It feels like a Monday, but it is definitely Friday. I had to check the watch a couple times, check the phone, make sure everything matched up. It is Friday. It is Friday. My camera is almost working. It's blurry as all get out. But, oh, happy Friday. It's good to be here. All right, let's see. I think we've got a few things. Did you
scratch all that? Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
This is true. Thank you very much. That is accurate as well. The volume's too loud there. That has to go down. Who's been in my studio? Have one of you been in here pushing buttons? Because everything's all messed up. It's all right. We'll get there. I learned a new trick today. Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Oops. That was a cool one. It disappeared. I learned that I could just pin the first person in chat.
No dead horse go unbeaten.
I can just pin the first person in chat, and then it will always be there, and it won't drop off. I don't have to save it and have it. 10 months, and I finally figured out how to pin the chat and how useful it is. Speaking of pinning chat, Mystic Mama, first in chat this morning. Happy Friday to you, Mystic Mama.
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
I hear you. The first in chat wins the internet. Mystic Mama, you've won before. You've won many times. You have a lengthy rap sheet when it comes to winning the internet. You've won again. We're just going to add that to your record. Thank you very much. Make sure you take care of the internet, everything IP related for everyone worldwide, and we'll all be happy. And then I can unpin that one. So we got that one. Let's see. Lee's May, welcome to the gallery with that green courthouse. Good to see that continued support there and that green courthouse by your name. That is very much appreciated. Yes, new blue shirt. This one is not ventilated on the back. The same way. It has a horizontal ventilation instead of the vertical that we wore yesterday. See, it looks like the same shirt, but it's actually, I think it's a darker blue or a lighter. It's a more solid blue. All right. I can't. Let's see. Fire Captain 202 says, my first court watch here. Let's see if I can. Everything's adjusted. Like I feel like I'm in somebody else's studio this morning. All right, it's all good. All right, we have to do a few things. I was going to do a roll call, but we've already sort of surpassed the number of people that it's comfortable to include in the roll call. So welcome all of you. We do need to ask.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
We will actually do that tonight on the podcast on this channel as well, the Not Relevant podcast. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys can all be there. I do need to ask a couple things. I need to know which one of you took my battery charger from my phone, because I cannot find it anywhere. It's one of those days. And who has a birthday?
I was back taking it easy.
A birthday today, anytime over the weekend. So we're talking a Friday, Saturday, Sunday birthday. Now is the time to celebrate, as it will be your birthday weekend, whichever day it is. And we get to sing to you. All right, it's like he's a magician. I don't know what to responding to, but there it did. Okay, are you going to cover Karen Reed? We're not covering the hearings prior to that, but we might cover this actual one. It depends what falls at the same time. I really want to cover that case. The only downside of that is that Brandy's also covering that one. We try to cover different cases, just so you give you a variety of options, because I know a lot of you are viewers and supporters and members over on Brandy Churchwell's channel as well. So we'd like to give you options that, sometimes you're with her, sometimes you're with us. So we'll see. We've talked about covering that for a long time, but she's doing a ton of work on the lead into that, the history, the investigation. I think even podcast, you name it. Let's see, mother-in-law's 80th birthday tomorrow. Weather watch. Congratulations to her. Let's see, Becky New. Okay, I'm going to have to keep notes here. Where's my note-taking machine? It's right here in front of me. Let's see. Becky New. Let's see. Who else did I miss? Looking for birthdays here. Corey, Becky New, Corey. Did I miss any others? We are going to be court hopping first thing this morning. There are a couple cases that are midway through. The internet problems yesterday sort of put us really far behind on Judge Stephanie Boyd's case, and I'm not sure if she wrapped up yesterday or not. So we're probably not going to follow that because it's all in the past. Let's see. Late just left the Karen Reed's protest. Court is at 9:30, says Shells. Man. Shells and Lee, have you guys checked in with Brandy on that one? I know she was live streaming that one. She might appreciate if you have a minute. I mean, I wouldn't count that as, it wouldn't offend me in the slightest if you were over there, and hopefully you already have been. She'd love to get some input, I'm sure, if you can get word to what you see there. Lacey, welcome. Thanks for clicking the subscribe button. Yep, Karen Reed. Karen Reed's what we're talking about. Brandy's been live. Happy birthday. Let's see. So we've got Corey, Becky Newton. Do I have Becky? Is it Becky New or Becky Newton? Becky Newton. We're just going to do Becky. Is that okay? And Weather Watch's mother-in-law. Okay. All right. That's enough to sing to. If nobody else wants to own up to the fact that they're having a birthday, that's okay. We will warm up our pipes. I was looking for my last bottle of Deer Park water that had fallen off the shelf. It's on the ground. No cup today, so we just have to go with the. That's the best I could do as far as water ASMR, and that wasn't very good. Sorry, I apologize. There we go. Okay, here we go. La 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 la. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Becky, Corey, and Weather Watch's mother-in-law. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to everybody who has a birthday today, tomorrow, or Sunday. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. It's cooled off in a lot of areas. The hurricane missed most of us. A few of you on the East Coast and up in the very top end of New England area are in for a little bit. Get a little bit of weather, but at least it's definitely scaled down. So happy birthday. Have a great weekend. Let's see, Micah, we missed yours apparently. It was on the 10th. Happy birthday to you, Micah, as well. All right, birthdays are done where everyone's appropriately been celebrated for their accomplishments in survival, because that's really what we're celebrating. All right, now on to bigger and better things. We are going to do a little bit of court hopping. We have a couple courts that are active right now that I've been keeping my eye on. Judge Middleton was in talking about landlord issues, which generally aren't very exciting. Occasionally those get exciting. We've got Judge Boyd is back. She's holding court right now. Let's see. The judge verdict is this morning for Henry Dinkins. I've been waiting, says Laura Robbins. I have not followed that one at all. This is the best birthday backtrack I've ever found. And it's good. Let's see. Who's having the verdict for Dinkins? What would you do? You'd probably get a lot accomplished. Be much more productive in life. Get your whole to-do list done for the day by noon. That's what I'm thinking. But who wants to do that? I mean, really. Corey, happy birthday. Thank you so much. We do appreciate you spending it with us here. Debbie says, I sing too. I imagine all of you sing. You do all sing, right? I'm not the only one up here just belting it out, right? I envision myself as standing in a virtual choir with all of you divided into appropriate sections, sent to soprano, alto, tenor, and bass, and singing together. I'm almost confident that's what happens every morning. I was singing with my puppy. That's awesome. Yesterday, Terry, look, Terry, we took a part of a day off yesterday, and you got your house cleaned. So I'm glad I was able to help you do that. I got a lot of things done out on the Airbnb. We are so close to. Okay, let me just say, we are so close. Yesterday we had to spend a ton of money on it, but we bought our Wi-Fi lock. Because we have to be able to change the code that lets people in remotely. And sometimes even, if there's a problem, be able to open it remotely. If we're not here and there's an issue, we might have to do that. So we got that installed. That's $300. And I put it in myself. I'll have you know. I installed the entire thing myself, which means it's probably not done correctly, but it's in there and it's working. So that's good. Ma's Homemade Soup says, finally got the maple bourbon pickles. You're going to love them. Make sure they're chilled when you eat them. Make sure they're chilled. WQAD News 8 is covering the Dinkins verdict live on YouTube and on their website, says Tammy. Let me know how that goes. We haven't followed the trial to this point. Let's see. Debbie's giving out balloons for the birthday people. Let's see. Ola says, I'm so sad my birthday is on a Saturday this year, so I'll miss the singing. Well, Ola, you'll just have to call the burner phone. We'll do like a special rendition, a cappella style. So let's see. I hummed it. That counts. All right, here we go. Kieran Baines says, hi from UK. Been watching you since the whole manhunt. Love your content. Kieran? Is it Kieran? I don't know how to say that first name. Let me know if I got it right. But thank you very much for coming over here. We obviously there are always manhunts going on, but not always like the type of manhunt that we covered. When there are other events, whether they're possibly natural disaster, man-made, you name it, we'd like to cover some of those as well. So if you guys see something that's going on, let me know. I'll do some quick research into it. And by quick, I mean really quick, just to make sure that we have assets that are available that could provide more information to people who may be interested. If it's just something that's happening that nobody can really see into, there's no police scanner, there's no aerial overheads, there's nothing going on. It's just we're waiting for them to tell us what happened. We probably won't cover that, but we'll see. So keep your ear to the ground and let me know on the burner phone. All right, you ought to try out pickled flavored brownie sandwich. Pickle flavored brownie sandwich. Brad, is this a real thing? Maybe text something to the burner phone, a picture or a product or something. I'll keep an eye out for it. Okay. Well, I'm going to hold you to that. Just call and just say, hey, I'm here for my birthday song, and we'll make it happen. Okay, let's check out court right now. I've got one more court I need to pull up here. Just 1 second here. I literally have voice control over this, and instead I select to choose, one letter at a time.
Bring the jury.
Okay, we've got Murdaugh's hearing was yesterday. That was a little bit of a circus. What do you guys think of Mr. Harpootlian standing up there and telling Judge Newman that everyone's trying to make this into a huge circus and get their 15 minutes of fame? When he's sitting right next to somebody who does his own podcast about his show. I thought that was unique. Court cases live. Who's live right now other than personal injury? Sorry, I'm trying to find where we're at here. Okay. So right now we have
Yes, Your Honor.
Stephanie Boyd first.
Is calling 2023 CR 0789 State of Texas versus 1 Carlo Torres Rivera.
Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Armando Roman, Your Honor, for the defense.
And Mr. Torres Rivera, if you can unmute yourself, please. All right. And Mr. Rahman, are you able to show your video or
Supposed to
no?
be able to process.
Your Honor, I have it as showing, but I don't know why it's blacked out. I don't know if it's a problem with my camera.
All right, let me stop your video on this end and then request that you restart it. Oh, do you have the slide on the top?
No.
No. Are you on a computer or a phone?
Computer.
Do you have the camera that you press down in the top and then it pops up?
No.
The judge is doing
He
tech
doesn't
support.
have any of that. We've
Send-
reached the
send in
limit
the-
of our skills.
Send in the teenagers. They
All
can
right,
fix
any
it.
objection to Armando Ramon appearing by video?
No objection.
Any objection to his client appearing by video?
No objection.
Any objection to Mr. Ramon not having his video up?
No objection.
All right. So according to the plea bargain agreement that you entered into on July 11th, it was to a misdemeanor, assault, injury, family violence, household. You entered a plea of no contest. The state is recommending
object.
deferred adjudication. Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor.
State?
Nothing, Your Honor. Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right, probation? I threw you off, right, by asking you. Because now we're gonna have to figure out what services we can provide for Mr. Torres, because obviously he has mental health issues. Mr. Torres, can you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Laura, you can lower your hand and make sure you keep your voice up so the court reporter can hear. Could you state your name for the record?
Giancarlo Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, do you have a place to live if you were released today?
We're going to switch this.
Where
I
would
thought
you be?
she was
Well,
live.
who
We've
would
got
you be living
yesterday's.
with?
Hang on.
With my mom.
All right, does your mom want you living with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you?
Additional dismissal.
We're going to switch to Judge Middleton for just a minute. Judge Boyd, I thought she was live, but that was yesterday's episode.
And tickle it for 7 days.
Appreciate that, Your Honor. I should have
Well,
it in.
you're at home. You got up and put a tie on just for us. If I were you, I'd spend the afternoon on my boat. But that's up to you.
Well,
All right.
I'm headed to my office shortly. Just
Okay.
late today. That's all.
All right. Well, we made it work. All right. Thank you. I'll
Thanks,
wait
Your
that
Honor.
order. If the defendant does log in, I will advise them to contact you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Our next matter is Home Time 401k
Okay, we're going
Trust
to go back to
and Jeffrey Hairline.
how about Cedric Simpson, who was live this morning. We missed him live the other day.
I'm
So
with Language. Yes, good morning. I'm with Language Line Solutions. My name's Catherine. My ID number is 370-520. I'll be the sign language interpreter for y'all, and I'm proud to serve. Just to let you know, it might be monitored for training and quality assurance purposes. I just need a 4-digit access code, please.
423.
I'm so sorry. I was not able to hear you.
It's 1423.
1423?
now we all know their PIN.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Perfect. I'm going to open court and then I'll swear you in.
Okay, is
The
the
14th.
deaf individual online?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to introduce myself to them if that's all right.
Perfect. The
Thank you.
14A District Court is now in session. All those having business before the court draw near. The Honorable Judge J. Cedric Simpson presiding.
I've never seen this before.
Madam Interpreter, if you could please raise your right hand to be sworn. You solemnly swear and affirm that you will interpret accurately, completely, and impartially, using your best skill and judgment, and to translate from American Sign Language into spoken English, and from spoken English into American Sign Language in the manner now before the court, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Madam Interpreter.
Good morning, Your Honor.
The court does call the case of Glencoe Hills versus Deja Jackson.
I'm here.
James Fink for the plaintiff, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Right, where are we on this case?
The balance is $2,968.17.
Yes, that is correct.
Ms. Jackson, how were you looking to try to get this paid?
Okay, I did call, I went to the Social Security office with a sign language interpreter there, and I explained to them that I'm no longer working because I had to have surgery, as you can see with the scarring in on my hand. And Social Security entered that information in their computer, and they said it's still pending and in process. So I'm still waiting for them to have that done. And I explained to them it was very imperative that this be done because I needed to pay the rent. And the local Social Security office explained that it wasn't on them. They were waiting for the federal level of Social Security to get things taken care of. So that way I can pay my back rent for August and September.
Ms. Jackson, have you been approved for benefits?
For Social Security benefits, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, I have been approved. I'm just waiting for them to complete their process. They said it would take approximately 120 days, but it's at this point has already passed that timeline. And I've already called into them 3 times.
And so you're, in essence, waiting for them to write a check to you?
Correct. Correct.
Mr. Fink, what do you suggest we do? She's waiting for the federal government probably to pay back benefits as well as start her current benefits.
Your Honor, we can't wait indefinitely. And we're also not unsympathetic to Ms. Jackson's situation. And of course, in 2 weeks, there will be 1 more month rent due. If we could have a redemption date of 17 or 21 days, that would give her time to run it down. I would suggest she contact Congresswoman Dingell's office for assistance. And perhaps she can get some emergency assistance from barrier busters or someplace in the meantime.
Do you mean HAWC? Are you referring to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, okay. I to let you know, I did contact them several, like 4 times, and have been in discussions with them. And I do have an appointment scheduled with them on the 20th of this month for, what is it? Let me see. Laura? on September 20th at 9:10 in the morning.
Your Honor, I see Miss Amy's here.
So my understanding is Ann Arbor City is out of money. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I am going to, over the objection of plaintiff, I'm going to adjourn this to September 29th, 2023, 9 a.m. We will see where you are at that point. We'll see where you are at that point with Ms. Jackson, with Social Security, and then we'll figure out how we're going to proceed from here.
Okay, so I just want to clarify, September the 29th, call in again for court, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what meeting number ID, do I use the same one, the 642-883-0452? Or is there the other one that was just recently shared, 462-439? I'm sorry, her fingers went out of the screen. Which essentially, which login do I use?
The one that you used today.
Okay, very good. At 9 a.m. May I ask? Sorry to interrupt. May I ask? And so that's in approximately 2 weeks. The rent will go up?
Well, that's 2 weeks, and that will be before your next rent is due.
I see. I see. Okay. Okay. I will do my best, and I will contact HAWC again today and DHHS. And because, like I said, I have that appointment on the 20th with them and see what they say.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm impressed with this. I've done a little bit of sign language.
Are we done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully I don't get evicted. And so, if Social Security doesn't come through for me by the 29th, what do I do? I'm really worried. I'm really, really worried.
Okay, ma'am, I'm not taking any action on anything today, so you don't have to worry about anything. We'll talk again on the 29th.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'd just like to reiterate that she should try to contact her congresswoman.
Okay. I will do that. I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Interpreter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for using our services. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Court does call the case of Glencoe Hills.
So that was interesting. I've never seen a sign language interpreter before in court.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Nicole Ballard.
Top center.
And we were at 1863 the last time.
Yes, sir.
All right. Has that come down at all?
No, it went up 50.
Okay. All right. Ma'am, how were you going to try to get this paid?
We were waiting on a Hawks check, SOS.
Your Honor, last week, it was last week that Miss Amy confirmed that the check had been mailed, but my client, as of yesterday, has still not received it.
All right, and that's going to cover her through September, correct?
I think that's what she said.
Okay, so here's what I'll do. I'm going to adjourn this out to the 29th at 2023 at 9 a.m. And that way, check comes then, will likely be dismissed. If not, then we'll enter a judgment. And at least it'll be a fixed figure at that point. Glencoe Hills versus Tiana Harris.
James Fink for the plaintiff.
Don't have this. Okay, she's here.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
All right, she's here. You were to vacate by the 14th.
Yeah.
Did you get out?
Well, I got sick in the middle of the move. That's what I had to tell you today. I got sick in the middle of the move, so I had to stop. So today will be my last day. I had to get my strength.
Well, here's what I'm going to do pursuant to the agreement that we had at the last hearing.
Yeah.
I'm going to find there's no tribal issue. I'm going to grant a judgment for possession to the plaintiff. However, remember, because we gave you that additional time, we started the clock last week, but we weren't going to issue a judgment. So a writ may issue this Monday,
Okay.
the 18th.
All righty.
Right, ma'am?
These are sad.
That's okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm going to see if we can
Thank
find
you.
another type of court.
Court does call the case of Glencoe Hills versus Jaquise Gardner.
Jaquita.
Say the name again for me.
It's Jaquita. Wait, which name do you have? Because I think that's me.
We've got
Is it
Jaquita and
Jaquita
Jaquise.
Gardner?
Yes, ma'am.
That's me.
Yes, ma'am. It is. Okay.
James,
All right.
The plaintiff.
Oh no, she's right there.
Okay. What are we? Where are we on this case? I had a balance of 2678 last hearing. Some change.
2728.
We've got another one out of Florida we might take a look at here. It
And
looks
she
like
was looking
more
for help.
ailments or
Yeah.
initial appearances.
I applied for SER. They denied it. I spoke to Susie at the office. She told me to go through Ann Arbor Housing, but apparently they're out of money.
Can we jump?
So I was wondering if there
Here we
any
go.
other
We're gonna make it. We're gonna
agencies
make a
that can
jump
help
right here.
too. I do still get paid on the 29th, and I have a couple more checks coming in 2 weeks. But
They said
as
this
of
charge
now,
right here was
Here we
not
go.
showing up anymore, because if it was, my lawyer was supposed to get this fixed and run concurrent before I signed off on my probation.
The lawyer just muted the microphone on her. The lawyer her lawyer.
I don't know.
I'm just trying. My question is, did jail staff ask you if you were on probation yesterday
No.
or last night? Okay.
No.
But you are on probation out of Calhoun County under the name Feuder, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I just currently got put on
but-
that.
That was my next question. This charge allegedly happened before you were on
Before.
probation. You've only been on probation a couple of weeks, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So, Mr. McDaniel, I'm not going to give her a release. I found there's probable cause for a misdemeanor at least, and I'm going to set her a bond. Did you say you requested a cash bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Bremer?
no objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to set a $500 cash only bond based upon the allegations against you. I can't hold you for violation of probation because you were not on probation when this charge allegedly occurred. You have a condition, no contact with the alleged victim, Ms. Feuder. We need to make sure our file shows an AKA of both, please. So it's a $500 cash only bond, no contact with the alleged victim or her property, ma'am, and you will get to use the phone in just a few minutes to try to post the bond. Any questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
Have a good day, ma'am. We have Juan Pierre. Say that again, Don. You're talking about her, not this one, because there's a name issue on this one too. Mr. Pierre, good morning. Mr. Pierre.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. You've got a new charge in Jackson County. It's actually not a new charge. It's one that's been pending. It's 23-124 CF. In that case, you're accused of 3 different charges, and you're accused of missing a pretrial conference that you had signed to be at. So the judge over there in that court has issued no bond. You have a hold out of Calhoun County that's under a different name.
No,
Calhoun County has you. Calhoun County has you
His
Jean
lawyer's like,
Pierre,
"Shh."
and Jackson County has you Juan Pierre. Which one is accurate?
Gene.
Jean, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Corporal or Sergeant, when I looked at the Calhoun County warrant, I believe there's a bond on that. Mr. McDaniel, did you come across that too?
I seen that it was a violation of county probation. I didn't look at the bond or the warrant. I could see it. So.
Corporal, it looks to me, or Sergeant, it looks to me like Calhoun County has a $717 cash only bond on the VOP. So I'm going to ask the jail to double check that. The teletype doesn't mention it, Corporal, but when I looked at the warrant itself, it clearly is on the warrant, $717 cash only bond. The Jackson County case does not have a bond. The Jackson County case does not have a bond. The Calhoun County case does. Mr. Pierre, any questions?
No questions, John.
All right, Mr. Pierre, you'll get to use the phone in just a few minutes, sir. Next
Yes,
case
sir.
is, yes, sir, Domenico Collins. Mr. Collins, give me just a second. Get these notes
appearances
down
are so
for that last
quick.
case. $717 cash only. What did I do with Mr. $500 cash? All right, Mr. Collins, good morning. Mr. Collins, you're here because you've been accused of one count of murder, one count of homicide. Mr. Collins, that's the case. I believe you're not entitled to a bond on Mr. Collins, regardless. The state has filed a motion for pretrial detention. Mr. McDaniel and Ms. Bremer, my intent is to set no bond at this time. However, procedurally on the motion for pretrial detention, I think the defense is entitled to a hearing within 5 days since that motion has been filed, I think. So, Mr. McDaniel, I'm going to ask that your office communicate with the state attorney's office and Judge Garcia's office about getting that motion set. So, Mr. Collins, you've got no bond for the time being. There may or may not be a hearing within the next few days. I'm sure Mr. McDaniel has told you this. You're charged with a very serious offense. Don't talk about this charge. Don't talk about what happened with anybody other than your attorney. That's the best advice I can give you at this point.
That's really good
Mr.
advice.
Collins, don't talk about your charges, but do you have any questions?
No question.
Mr. McDaniel, anything else in this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Collins, have a good day. So, Ms. Bremer, if y'all will communicate with Judge Garcia's office and the public defender's office about whether or not the hearing is necessary, I just don't know. Next case is Ashton Girdler. Ms. Girdler, good morning. Ms. Girdler, you're here because you have been accused of violating the terms of your conditional release. Ms. Girdler, the allegations are the probation officer has accused you of not calling in multiple times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times. One time didn't call at all, and 5 times you were late calling in. Late means a different day. Okay, so that's why you're in jail. Ms. Girdler, typically when this happens, I normally will let someone stay in jail a few days, ma'am, and then I'll set them a bond if not calling in is the only violation. That's what you're accused of, is not basically doing a conditional release and not doing what you're supposed to do on conditional release. Let me see if Mr. McDaniel or Ms. Bremer have any additional information before I
So we're
before I
watching
make a final
the
decision.
Judge
Mr.
Wade
McDaniel?
Mercer in Jackson County,
No, Your
Florida, or Jackson County, Florida.
Ms. Girdler, I'm going to ask the jail to put you back on the first appearance list for Monday. Ma'am, in all likelihood, I'm just going to set you a bond on Monday. It's probably going to be the same bond you were set to begin with when you chose the conditional release. I believe that was a $10,000 bond. I think it was 2 third-degree felonies. So, Ms. Girdler, I'll review the bond amount on Monday, ma'am, but it appears you're not a candidate for conditional release if it's accurate that you can't call in like you're supposed to. Ms. Girdler, do you have any questions, ma'am?
I just wanted to state that the reason I keep forgetting is because I have PTSD, panic disorder, and fibromyalgia.
I don't know the fibromyalgia is a valid excuse. The PTSD may be. Ma'am, had I known that to begin with, I probably shouldn't have offered you a conditional release, because if you can't comply with conditional release, you can't, and you may have been better off taking the bond. But I'm going to give you a chance to do that Monday unless I hear something to change my mind. I'll see you Monday morning at first appearance, ma'am.
This judge is quick.
Okay.
It's
Then we have
interesting there's some
Felicia
mixed gender
Keller.
appearances there. I don't know where all these inmates are at the jail. We've got males and
Ms.
females
Keller,
mixed
good morning.
together.
Ms. Keller, you're here for first appearance. You're accused of one count of driving under the influence of alcohol. Ms. Keller, there is probable cause for the charge. In the complaint, ma'am, I've read your criminal history also. I saw the pretty recent DUI you have in the last few years, ma'am. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you and ask you to listen to Mr. McDaniel, and he's going to tell me if there's a bond analysis or if there's a plea agreement reached.
Your Honor, we're going to ask for some kind of, reasonable bond, maybe a cash bond. Miss Keller, I think the only time she's been in trouble is those the DUI about 5 years ago, and then this DUI today. She's got 2 kids at home, and I don't even know if she can't even. She's going to try to figure out someone that she can call because, to try to help her out. But, at this point in time, we're going to ask for some kind of cash bond so she can get out and try to get things situated.
All right, thank you, Mr. McDaniel. Ms. Keller, I want to make sure I understand your history first. There's a child neglect and indecent exposure, but it looks like it may be the same date as that other DUI. I really can't tell. That's a pretrial diversion. She did a PTI. Yeah, okay. And then there's a DUI from a couple years ago, 2018. I think they had pled in 20. And then this current DUI. Okay. Ms. Bremer, anything from the state?
Your Honor, the state requests a reasonable bond and no possession or consumption of alcohol or illegal substances.
Ms. Keller, my plan with that kind of history, having 2 close together, I'm going to set you a $5,000 bond, but Mr. McDaniel is requesting a cash bond in this case. Ms. Bremer, any opposition to that?
No, Your Honor.
So I'll give you the option of a $500 cash only bond. Your bond's $500 cash. Your bond has a condition that you not possess or consume alcohol at all.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Goodson, what about her driver's license status? A second within 5 years. Is she going to have a driver's license? Do you know? She's not going to have one at all, is she? At least for some period of time. You're going to have a condition not to drive a motor vehicle for the time being. If you can get your license issues resolved with DHS&V, which I don't think you can. I think it's going to take several weeks to do that. But if you can, I certainly would consider modifying that condition. But for the time being, it's pretty clear to me that you're not going to have a driver's license because now you've got 2 DUIs within 5 years of each other. And so you have a condition on your bond not to drive a motor vehicle at all, and you cannot possess or consume alcohol. Ms. Keller, you'll get the phone in just a few minutes to try to post the bond. The last thing we're going to do is I'm going to ask the jail to give you a notice for your court date. That way we don't have to mail you a notice. We'll know you get it. What would the court date be, Dawn? Sergeant, if we could give her notice for October 2nd at 9 a.m., they'll give you that notice, ma'am. And if you post the bond, that'll be your court date. If you're not able to post the bond, Ms. Keller, then we'll see you at an upcoming court date on the jail docket. Ms. Keller, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Have a good day, ma'am.
Charles Court, Charles. Here you go.
Mr. McDaniel, that's everything I had on my list here. Anything else from the public defender's office?
No, Your Honor.
And Sergeant, anything else from the jail?
No, sir.
Ms. Bremer, anything from the state?
No, sir, Judge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 8:45. That concludes first appearances for the morning.
It's a lot of first
and
appearances.
First appearance court's adjourned.
All right. Let's see who else we have. We've got Judge Cedric. He was doing some pretty sad ones. Judge Kristen Simmons is in her court. She's a do not record, though. She's a tough one. Let's see who else we have. We've got
And then,
Elizabeth DeSanto.
okay, then this is on the record of the matter of Kings Forest Apartment versus Eugenia Jackson.
Everybody's doing landlord-tenant issues.
2301927.
Grant Munson for the plaintiff.
Okay, and
Do you know if the Louisiana parole board is going to be active today? Are they going to
Counsel, you
be?
may proceed.
Are they on Fridays?
Your Honor, today is the date and time set for our second hearing on this matter. We're requesting a default for possession only in the amount of $2,328, which includes attorney fees of $75 and the filing costs, or a writ of eviction to issue on September 25th, if not paid.
Okay, I'm sorry, what was it, dollar amount, Counsel?
2328.
That's awesome, Tammy, Chris, both of you.
All right, the court will indicate that defendant was provided notice to be here at 8:40, is now 9:47. Defendant failed to appear, failed to contact the court.
That's a quick way to have a
Therefore,
judgment against
by
you.
default, plaintiff has a right to recover possession of the property. The amount now due owing for unpaid rent and other costs is $2,328. If that amount is not paid or defendant is not allowed on or before September 25th, plaintiff may apply for an order evicting the defendant. Additional money may be owed if damage to property occurs or rent continues to accrue. Partial payment will not prevent the court from issuing an order evicting the defendant, and no money judgment will enter at this time. And counsel, I apologize for your extra time sitting here today while
Well, nobody showed up.
No problem, Your Honor, and I hope the computer system starts to listen to you. You have a good weekend.
all right, thank you. You as well. Okay, and so we are on the record
We've jumped to, let's
the
see.
matter of Bishop Nonprofit versus Cynthia Marler, 231932.
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Peter Tranke, representing the plaintiff in this matter. This is the second hearing date. I have not been contacted by the defendant or anybody representing the defendant. So respectfully, I would ask for a default judgment of possession. What was the defendant's name in this matter?
Cynthia Marler.
Marler, there is $1,070 of rent due plus $84.80 of court costs for a grand total of $1,154.80. And I believe the return date would be the 25th of this month.
Yes, I'm just trying to see.
Judge Doro has, I don't know if her workload shifted or her assignment shifted, but she's handling just family law, just divorces. That's all she's doing. It's just divorces. And those aren't generally televised.
Notes on here.
Yeah, we're going to need a zoom lens for Mr. Peter Chanchita. Just can't quite see his face from this distance. Zico, no. Normally we follow a specific trial. We're sort of between. As soon as the trial starts, we might begin, and we'll start from we'll follow it, as the gavel drops, from gavel to gavel, from morning. I said it's gavel drops. That's the Discord name. From the opening statements all the way through the sentencing usually. So we usually have a little break in between as all the court cases don't line up neatly, and we just start from one to the other. We like to follow live cases. So like right now, the only option available to us. Hang on 1 second.
Defendant failed to appear, therefore.
Judgment and default.
As this matter was scheduled for 8:50, it is now 9:49. We're going to indicate default judgment to enter.
Okay, so I'm going to turn off for a second. The only other video we have to possibly watch we're 3 days behind on, and that is the strangled wife murder trial. It's Massachusetts versus Carla Rintala. That's I'm not sure if we've got the whole thing there. I know it's live right now, but it's It's a couple, two women who are married. That one of them was found dead, beaten, bloodied at the bottom of the stairs, cold, lifeless, and covered in paint. And the other one is accused. The other lady, her partner, is accused of her murder. And the interesting thing about that is that this is the fourth. I believe it's the fourth trial. I think the first three had missed trials, but we were, because we're late on that one, jumping into that one. It's hard to catch up, especially full days of catch up, and we're looking for something to start on Monday. So we're doing some little court hopping with some of these small cases right now. Yes, we did go out on a date that night, not last night, but the night before, and went to Outback Steakhouse. We'd never been there. I don't know why we'd never been there, but it was delicious. It was good, and it was fun to get out. Fourth time she's on trial. Which is crazy.
Right, counsel, just one moment. I need to figure out why this isn't. I'm not doing anything different than I did earlier.
Why is the computer still doing what it was doing before? Kate, yes. I'm actually looking at traveling out to Idaho for that one, to be, if not on scene, very close nearby, in Moscow, for that. So we're acquiring some of the equipment we would need for that right now, but we're still waiting for the decision from the judge. There was a hearing just the other day.
What's her?
There was a hearing the other day where the judge was supposed to make a decision about cameras in the courtroom, because that will definitely impact what we do. If there are no cameras in the courtroom, we can still cover it, but it will be a little trickier, because generally if they do like a Lori Vallow style, where they allow cameras in the courtroom, or at least just audio only, then at the end of the day the audio gets released, and we'd have to be there to get that. It gets expensive. Usually, I think Idaho charges it was nuts. They wanted like $3,000 for the audio. It was crazy. So we'd probably team up with some other media outlets to pool that and share the coverage between us. If there's video, live access, and we can get access as press, which requires some paperwork and stuff to fill out that we've done successfully in the past. It just depends how the court views everything. Then we'll try to live stream it from court, but we have to just make sure cameras are in there first. Hope you had the bloomin' onion. We did, CJ, and unfortunately my bloomin' onion had not been peeled, and so the inner parts of the bloomin' onion were great, but as we got to the outer petals, they were not so tasty because it was just dry onion peel. Let's see, I watched you covering it the other day. I'm in North Carolina and been following it closely, so hoping I can watch while working. Yes, the Idaho 4 case, we're like 2 years away. Once he waived his right to a speedy trial, it's like way out. There's so much information and data and everything. There will be hearings and progress status hearings along the way, but it's pushed out. It's pushed out. It won't be in 2024. I'll be surprised if it's in 2025. Who is the man in the top center? That's the lawyer for the apartment complex. I'll switch off him because we've got the audio off for a little bit. Texas Roadhouse is better than Outback, says Ivan. Starting a fight in here. I get a free bloomin' onion since my birthday is coming up. Got to get mine. Yep, do it. The rent matters are on Friday, pretty sure. We're hearing a lot of rent matters from the different courts that we're looking at. Let's see, I've got a couple of courts up here. I'm just trying to pull up another one. Let's see, this would be camera 3, so that would be... Judge Boyd is not live yet, otherwise we'd have her up there as well. Landlord tenant. We've got DeSanto, we've got Judge Kenneth King. Let's see if this one allows us to. Oh, this is a do not record as well. Man. Yeah, so just not a lot of options this morning as far as court goes. Judge Mark Bronlynch. Mark Bronlynch.
Yes.
Okay, is there a Let's go ahead and bring them in because we've never seen this one. This is brand new to us. This is Michigan's 38th Circuit Court. I'll bring them in on 3 right here. Just 1 second. Where's my audio? I'll play live.
Significant unsecured debt, credit card debt. Obviously, rehabilitative response would be very short term. I understand if Ms. Jess has been in the home, without question, needs to explore employment.
And she has been doing that.
Okay. The appraisal, if that is to be secured, the court's ordering that be secured as soon as possible. So if you can't look at SEVs today and 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Ms. Reiser, you need to move quickly on that appraisal. That could take a couple months. Or will be optimistic and indicate settlement is possible and likely. We have 2 capable family law practitioners. The court would like to set this for another pretrial conference subsequent to mediation. How much time do you need in which to prepare for mediation? Do you need 60 days, 45 days?
60 would be great.
I'm sorry?
60.
Okay. The court has a list of mediation dates. We don't have Ms. Patrick, I don't know, the mediation list from your office only has dates through October. It's like pricing the mediation date for sometime, early November, Ms. Moyer, Ms. Reiser?
That works for me.
Your Honor, the Mr. Walker is available on the 6th of November, either at 8:30 or 1:30. He's also available on the 8th at 1:30, and he would be available on the 9th at either 8:30 or 1:30. Ms. LaPrade would be available on November 9th at 8:30.
Let's try to schedule something with Mr. Walker. Is there a date then? That's not good for me.
Just the 9th.
The court is not available on the 9th. How about to November 6th?
Does Ms. LaPrade or Ms. Patrick have anything?
It looks like there's been an
November?
update in the Delphi
I know
case.
Ms. LaPrade was on the 9th, but you just said you weren't available, Judge, I think.
I know Richard Allen wants cameras in the courtroom.
No, not
which
not
I don't
that
think will
week,
happen.
because that Friday was a holiday. We'd have to go into the next week. Would you like me to go into the week of the 13th, Your Honor?
Defense Diaries on Twitter is saying that there's apparently a motion to quash the search warrant on his house.
Yes, please.
Ms.
Right.
LaPrade is available on November 13th at 8:30 or 1:30. She's also available at 1:30 on the 16th, and I would be available on November 16th at 1:30.
November 13th at 1:30 and November 16th at 1:30 works for me.
Ms. Reiser?
I can do this November. Actually, both of those days work for me as well.
Okay, let's do the 13th then. Monday the 13th at 1:30. Oh, I'm sorry, I just informed.
The judge is not
The
available.
court will not be available. I'd like to be available. So how about the 16th? November 16th at 1:30?
Perfect.
I'm sorry, that's the ICL Family Law Conference, and I'd like to be here, present, to conduct the pretrial conference immediately after mediation. So we go on the 13th and the 16th?
16th and 17th.
And the 13th?
13th, I'm looking, sorry.
Be at that same conference.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we'll both be, I forgot about the ICO conference. It is the weekend of the 16th, isn't it?
Right, and it's all day Thursday, half day Friday.
So that would not work. Let's look back at November 6th. Neither of you are available on the week of November 6th. What are those dates again, Ms. Patrick, on November 6th?
Let me just
On
throw this
November
out here.
6th, Your Honor, we would.
Some of you might be looking for a multi-million-dollar business idea. And let me just say, if you can come up with software that the court can use, that everyone just hits a button and it merges all their availabilities and it shows you what dates are available based on their calendars, it would save them so much time. You could charge whatever you asked for that. It would be a simple app. Just the different people register, and you say, here's the date, and they can just choose what's available. It would be so easy. So there's your $1 million idea. You don't get those every day. So all we need is some little programmer who can go out and do that. Of course, it'll have to work with all the different operating systems and phones and calendars.
Order with Ms. Patrick's Zoom ID number. All right, Ms. Moyer, Mr. Reiser, do either of you want to voir dire your respective clients regarding this temporary agreement?
I'm saying it has to merge everyone's different systems.
That's fine, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, yes or no?
Yes.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Janice, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you both solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Moyer.
Ms. Janice, did you hear the friend of the court recommendation with regard to payment of temporary spousal support and marital bills?
Yes.
Did you understand the terms of those provisions?
Yeah.
And do you agree to entry of an order that requires Mr. Janice to pay you $500 a month in spousal support temporarily?
Yes.
And do you agree to all the other provisions that he's going to pay the bills associated with the home?
Yes.
And does that resolve our motion for payment of status quo and marital expenses?
Yes.
Nothing further?
Ms. Reiser, do you have any questions of Ms. Janice?
Mr. Janice, did you hear the agreement placed
First of all,
on
do you
the
have any questions for Ms. Janice?
Oh, no, sorry.
Questions for Mr. Janice?
Mr. Janice, did you hear the agreement placed on the records?
Yes.
Do you understand the terms? Do you understand
Yes.
it? Okay, and do you agree to an entry of an order that encompasses that agreement?
Yes.
No further questions.
Ms. Moyer, do you have any questions, Mr. Janice?
I do not.
Very well, the court will adopt the recommendation of Ms. Patrick. The court will mail out the copy of that order will be mailed to the parties. Ms. Patrick, can you simply clarify that payments will be directly deposited? The $500 a month will be directly deposited into the party's joint account. So it's real clear for everyone. And the court will mail out a pretrial order that the parties shall mediate with Ms. Patrick on November 6th at 1:30 and subsequently appear before the court for a continuing pretrial conference. Anything further, Ms. Reiser or Ms. Moyer?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. I actually did have one request. I'd like to make an oral motion to hopefully save my client some money. A request for a contribution to my client's attorney fees pursuant to MCL 552.13 because my client is not able to continue to pay attorney fees to move this case forward. And my concern is that we're not going to be able to get to mediation and to final judgment without some contribution. And she would be asking for a $1,000 contribution from Mr. Janice. Mr. Janice does have the ability to pay something. He does work full-time as a crane operator. His W-2 indicates that he earns approximately $66,000 a year. I understand that he is paying the marital expenses, but I don't believe the mortgage is that much because there's only like $25,000 owed on the home. And I would think that they both would want this to be done. My client doesn't work. She's got 11th grade education. She has some medical conditions that impact her ability to work, although she is working for employment. She never worked during the marriage, so that's not uncommon. And she has a nominal work history. So it's going to take her some time to get employment. And right now she just needs money to finish this. Now, I know council is going to point out, and it's true, that my client took half of the savings account amount and the joint account. She did use that to pay an original retainer, which is now almost gone. But she has also been forced to use those monies to just pay regular living expenses because plaintiff was not depositing his income into the joint checking account, which facilitated the motion, the request for payment of expenses and temporary spousal support. So unfortunately, and contrary to Hanaway v. Hanaway, my client has had to dissipate her 1/2 share of the marital savings account to pay attorney fees and to pay her expenses.
Kim, thank you
so
very
now
much.
she's left not having enough money to move forward with litigation.
Ms. Reiser.
Kim, that's awesome.
Your
Thank you
Honor,
for your generosity.
My client has maintained all the marital bills and expenses. At the start of these proceedings, there were $19,200 in a joint bank account, and Miss Janice took half for her personal use. My client didn't take the other half. He left it in the joint account. So she's had access to $19,200. This case is only 3 months old. She should not have been able to blow through that much money in that short period of time.
Mr. Janice has not been paying. Has he been paying the mortgage payments and utilities all along?
He's been paying all the mortgage and utilities all along. And Your Honor, he never had his check deposited into that joint account. His employer doesn't. He started a new job in March, and it was never customary. That account had $19,200, and he's paid all the marital expenses throughout this whole thing. There's just no way that if he's paying the mortgage and all the marital bills and expenses, that she could have blown through $19,200.
Well, half of that.
She didn't use 19,000. Yeah.
So not 9,600 of it she put into account for her own personal use. He did not take the other 9,600. He left it in the joint account. And she has
used the
complete
money in the
access
joint
to that.
account. I have the PNC statements there, and he was using mobile deposit. That is correct, that he didn't have direct deposit from his employer. When he received his check, he would take a picture of it and deposit it into the account. He stopped doing that in March of 2023. He shut off my client's cell phone service, which made it very difficult for her to communicate with her attorney. He shut off the hot water, apparently, shut off the Wi-Fi. My client did not agree to him doing that. And
all right. Hold on, Ms. Moore. I got people waiting in the room for the last 15 minutes. Your client took $9,000 out of a joint account, correct?
That is correct, and she's used most of it just to pay her expenses and to pay a small
what
retainer
expenses?
to me.
Hold on. Other than her own groceries, what expenses did she have?
Gas, car repairs. She has a minor child that she has to feed and clothe.
That's not an issue. Court will reserve the request for attorney fees at this time. We can reserve that. We'll address that if we can reach agreement at the mediation.
Thank
that
you,
should
Your
be
Honor.
sufficient to get you at least through mediation, Ms. Moyer. But yeah, the court agrees it is a legitimate issue. I've noted that as it be an issue of attorney fees. So Mr. Janice needs to be to recognize that is a legitimate issue, the disparity in income, but the amount to be awarded will be addressed at the final pretrial conference, if necessary, if you cannot reach agreement. So at this point in time, the court will reserve the request.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome. That will conclude this matter. Zoom out. We're going to have a good rest of the day. Thank you, Ms. Patrick.
Okay, there are people waiting for the
Thank
courtroom. I
you.
wonder what's coming up
Have a
next
good day.
here.
Welcome.
Boom, 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 boom. Josh is a crane operator. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Let's go back to, I think, who do we have? We've got Cedric in the corner. We've got...
Do I just leave?
Josh
Yes,
is like,
you
can
can
I
leave.
go
Hang
home
up,
now?
sir.
Can I go now? I'm done. Oh, man. Preset.
Worked.
I put that
went ahead and started paying for
corrected
it, so that he had it in
wrecking your
place
cube.
spot. You know, because if we were waiting until October and he didn't have it in place and paying for it, he was not going to be able to get it in.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure any of these are very interesting right now to go to. Do we have 4 boxes? What could we do? My system's really slow right now. Okay. We've got 2 duplicates. Why is that? Okay, so of all the courtrooms, I think 3 is the most interesting. Let's see what's up here. I think it's just starting.
Spencer, you're busy this morning.
Yes.
We're hoping we can pick up a new trial starting Monday. We're still looking though. So if you have any hot leads on a good trial, it's really difficult to, I complained about calendaring for the courts. It's really difficult to calendar for trials because they, even up to the last minute, they can change, and at a moment's notice, you're ready for the hearing, and it gets moved, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's tricky to get everything set up. But if you've got a case, Judge Boyd is not live yet that I can see.
Is now in session. Donato Segura versus Corin Segura.
For the record, this matter is before the court for a pretrial conference. Same is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Alexis Spencer, appearing on behalf of the Attorney Kimberly Kuhn, on behalf of the plaintiff, Zenato. How do you pronounce it? Zenato?
Yeah, Zenato. Zenato.
Okay. Zenato Segura. Mr.
Yes.
Segura is present. In addition, the defendant, Corinne Segura, is also present. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
Let's see what's happening here. I'm co-running this guy up. Chip. Welcome, Chip. Sorry, let's see if I can get out of your face here just a little bit. There we go.
One moment, please.
Divorce is a sad thing. Sometimes it's a necessary thing, but what we're seeing here is the cost involved and the process involved when two people can no longer communicate effectively with each other.
So the court's in receipt of what appears to be a proposed consent judgment of divorce.
Sidney Powell, is that the...
Submitted on base.
Let's see.
Ms. Segura, did you approve this judgment?
Yes.
Ms. Segura, did you approve this judgment?
Yes.
Okay, I don't see signature lines on here.
That one's a little too political for us, I think. We do pickles, not politics, on the Sidney Powell.
Your Honor, they're on page 10 of 10.
Let's see, Rudy, did I miss something?
I can locate page 10.
Let's see, Jennifer Dulos trial out of Stamford. Let me look at that one.
Okay, court did find that. Before we begin, Mr. Segura, there is a statutory 6-month waiting period in any divorce case in which there are minor children. The reason being is to make sure there's no chance of reconciliation. This court does, however, have the authority to waive that balance of judgment today if you both requested the court do so and you both believe in the best interest of your children. In this case, the 6-month statutory waiting period does not expire until November 25th. About 2 months. Mr. Segura, are you asking the court to waive the balance of the waiting period and enter the judgment of divorce today?
Yes, please.
Mr. Segura, what about you? Are you likewise asking the court to enter the judgment today so you can move forward?
Yes.
Are you currently separated?
Yes.
Yes.
How long have you been separated?
4 months.
3 to 4 months.
All right. All right. Based on the request of both of you, the court would in fact waive the statutory waiting period. All right, Mr. Segura, can you both please raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you both solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer, you can begin with Mr. Segura, please.
Thank you. Mr. Segura, can you please state your full name and address for the court?
Senato Segura III. Do you want the address where I'm living now or
Yes,
another
please.
address?
I'm going to turn that off.
7.
We don't need to hear his address. That's not very important.
Thank you. Is it true that you're the plaintiff in this matter that filed the complaint for divorce?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to the filing of the complaint for divorce, did you continuously live in the state of Michigan for at least 180 days?
Thanks, Kevin.
Yes.
Okay. And prior to the filing of the complaint, did you also live in the county of Monroe for at least 10 days?
Yes.
Okay. And is it true that you and the defendant were married in Toledo, Ohio on August 17th, 2017?
Yes.
Okay. In the complaint for divorce, you stated that there had been a breakdown of the marriage relationship so that the objects of matrimony had been destroyed and there remained no reasonable likelihood that the marriage could be preserved. Is that still true today?
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that there is any chance of reconciliation then?
No.
Okay. To your knowledge and belief, is the defendant currently pregnant?
No.
Okay. Is it true that you and the defendant have 2 minor children of this marriage?
Yes, correct.
Have you had a chance to read the final judgment of divorce?
Yes.
Okay. And in the final judgment of divorce that you signed, you and the defendant are to have joint legal and joint physical custody of the minor children. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that joint legal and joint physical custody is in the best interest of the minor children?
Yes, we do.
The judgment also contains a provision specifying parenting time for both you and the defendant with the minor children, correct?
Correct.
Do you believe that the parenting time set out in the provision for parenting time within the judgment is in the best interest of the minor children?
Yes.
The judgment of divorce also states that child support is reserved. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And according to the judgment, you and the defendant will split the costs and fees of agreed upon extracurricular activities for the minor children on a 50-50 basis, correct?
Correct.
The judgment provides that the defendant shall provide health care insurance for the minor children so long as it's available through her employer at a reasonable cost. Is that also correct?
Correct.
Okay. And for uninsured health care expenses, including vision and dental costs, you and the defendant are each going to be 50% responsible of those costs as well, correct?
Correct.
In the judgment, it states that neither you nor the defendant will be paying or receiving spousal support to one another, correct?
Correct.
Do you understand that this waiver of spousal support is final, binding, and non-modifiable, meaning neither you nor the defendant may come back in the future to request spousal support?
Yes.
You had a chance to review the property settlement provisions then in the proposed judgment?
Yes.
Okay. And do you agree that those provisions are fair and equitable?
Yes.
Do you understand that the property award is also final and non-modifiable?
Yes.
Okay. And you have made a full and accurate disclosure of all of the assets and liabilities, correct?
Correct.
Each party is responsible for their attorney fees according to the judgment of divorce. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Has anyone threatened you or forced you into signing the proposed judgment of divorce?
Nope.
Okay. Do you understand all of the terms of the judgment then?
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand that you're waiving your right to a trial in this matter in which the result could have been better, it could have been worse, or it could have been exactly the same?
Yes.
Okay. And are you satisfied with our firm's representation of you in this matter?
Yep.
Do you have any questions for the court or for myself?
Nope.
And it's true that you then are requesting that the court waive the 6-month statutory waiting period, correct?
Correct.
And you believe that that is in the best interest of your minor children?
Yep.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. Ms. Segura, could you please state your name and current address for the record?
Corinne Elizabeth Segura, 7955 Douglas.
We don't know her address either.
Thank you. Ms. Segura, did you hear the testimony this morning of your husband?
Yes.
Was his testimony true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Are you currently pregnant?
No.
And is it true that you signed your name approving this proposed judgment of divorce?
Yes.
Did you do so freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Did anyone promise you anything or threaten you in any way in order to get you to come to this agreement?
No.
Do you understand that the office of Kimberly Kuhn represents your husband their loyalties lie with your husband. They do not represent your interest. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you've had the opportunity to consult with your own attorney if you chose to do so, correct?
Correct.
Do you believe the provisions of the judgment are fair and equitable?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for the court?
This is a very amicable split.
Do you have any questions for Ms. Spencer?
No.
Ms. Spencer, do you have any questions of Ms. Segura?
I do not, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, the court would like to thank and acknowledge Ms. Spencer and Ms. Kuhn for helping facilitate resolution. The court would applaud the two of you, Mr. and Ms. Segura. It's wonderful you can co-parent your two daughters. They're twins, correct?
Yes.
They will do well in life. They will thrive if you are both actively participating in their activities and you're on the same page. There may be bumps in the road in the future, but those can be addressed through effective communication. So please keep that in mind. But it's wonderful that you can co-parent them. The court will, in fact, waive the statutory 6-month waiting period at the request of both parties. In fact, they've been separated for 4 months. Based upon the testimony that's been presented this morning, as well as the complaint filed in this matter, the court finds that jurisdiction has been established. The court further finds that there has been a breakdown of the marriage relationship to the extent that the objects of matrimony have been destroyed, and there appears to be no reasonable likelihood that the marriage can be preserved. Accordingly, it is ordered by this court that the marriage between the parties be and is thereby dissolved, and judgment shall enter, granting a divorce from bonds of matrimony. Good luck to both of you. Thank you again, Ms. Spencer. That will conclude this matter. You can both zoom out. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going
to
turn this off for just a second. I want to look at.
All right, thank you.
Look at this. Hang on a second. Let's pause.
After full and fair consideration of the evidence, is firmly convinced of
All right, thank you. There are.
Is that audio really that bad?
Right here that I want you to use if you need to communicate with me. Just write down in here what is it that you need and knock on the door, hand it to the bailiff. The bailiff will bring it back to me. And I'll
Okay, so this is, if we can
see
get
if I
it to
can
load
answer
properly.
your concerns or questions, whatever they may be.
This is the state of Florida versus Wallace. We're just looking into this a little bit, but internet's acting funny for a second. Let me shut down. I've got so many streams going right now.
3 of you were selected as alternate.
Hang on, you can't see it here. I'm trying to get it on the screen.
Yours 132, 118, and 1.
Trying to see if this is deliberations.
If you don't mind remaining in the courtroom when the rest of you
They're going to
begin the
deliberations. That's no good.
Logistically speaking, in food, it's early in the morning, but I'm assuming there could be a possibility that you'll need lunch at some point in time. If that becomes an issue, just knock on the door and tell the bailiff, we would like to order lunch.
Give me a second. We're trying to get this on the screen.
So don't wait till you're starving to death before you knock on the door. It could be another hour before we can get you your food. Collectively, you go outside as a group, 12, if you need a break, but you will not deliberate outside of that room.
This is all about.
You only deliberate in the room. So if you want to go outside and get some fresh air, he'll take you outside, but don't be deliberating out in whatever they take you for your break. It's not my courtroom, so I forgot my notes of the things that I typically go over. When you have a verdict, this is what the procedure I want you to follow. When you have a verdict, I just want you to knock on the door real hard. I just want them to knock. I want you to knock on the door real hard and then tell the bailiff that you have a verdict.
Wake up the bailiff.
Don't tell him what the verdict is, and then the verdict will come back, and we'll collect the group here, and we'll prepare ourselves to receive your verdict.
This is the most casual.
The foreperson, whoever that person may be, I'm going to ask you to grab the verdict and just fold it in half, and in your hand, bring it into the courtroom.
Okay, I want to see if we can find the preceding on this. We know what court this is.
Yeah, question, same thing. Knock on the door, film it here.
In this trial.
I believe that's it.
It may be very, very quick.
In closing, let me remind you that it is important that you follow the law as it is spelled out in these instructions in deciding your verdict. There are no other laws that apply to this case. Even if you do not like the laws that must be applied, you must use them. For more than 2 centuries, we have lived by the Constitution and the law. No juror has a right to violate the rules we all share. Actually, there was one more instruction that I wanted to tell you about. Your job is to determine the outcome of this case based upon these instructions. You are not to consider any possible penalty as you're discussing these instructions. I want to make sure that's very clear. That is not to be a factor. Thank you very much. Other than yours, 132, 118, and 108. Yeah. Yeah, we'll
She said,
we'll
"Can I get my
that for
dozen
you."
eggs from?" Oh, she said,
Oh,
"Can I get
yeah,
my
that's the
backpack?"
other thing I forgot to tell you. My previous instruction not to talk about the case is lifted. Now I want you to talk about the case. Take your notes with you into the jury room, and then deliberate freely. There are no restrictions on deliberations. We'll stay here as long as you need us to stay here.
All right, jury. Boyd just went live.
Ring the bell.
Okay, so they went in deliberations. It's going to be a little bit. We can do some research. That was Volusia County Courthouse in Florida. This is 7th Judicial
Counsel, you want to
Circuit.
look at the evidence? Oh, I'm assuming there's one that knows how to use a computer in there.
Yeah. My
Well,
email
they have
is.
it in there. They have it in there. So
Let's see.
I'll leave
Let's
it
jump
yeah.
over to Judge Boyd really quickly.
Yeah, get your personal effects and come back out.
Okay. All right, Judge Boyd is just getting set. She's got the blue purse. Whoever had the blue purse as their option, bingo, you got it. So we'll keep an eye on that case. The jury
Hey.
verdict
Hi.
watch. That guy's like a mile tall.
Oh, Mr. Callahan, do you have any objections to this?
Okay, my email is mdrecoveryaddict@gmail.com,
let me know.
and you can find that on the about page of my YouTube page on the under contact.
Sure.
We do have mods that take breaks periodically, sometimes extended breaks, and that is cool. Everybody has a life. Everybody has a life, and we definitely want them to put their life first. Okay. No, MD. Steve, it actually stood for metal detecting, recovery addict, because recovery addict was already taken. I should have seen that as a clue that I was choosing a name that might be a little confusing to people, but that's it. MD, as in metal detecting, and recovery addict. It happens to be my favorite hobby, metal detecting. Mod lives matter. Yes, they do. Judge Boyd is just getting warmed up for the day, getting all the papers in a row as she gets ready for her docket. If it stood for doctor, it would definitely be an honorary degree. Good says false that everyone has a life. I do not. Rory wants to metal detect. It is the best hobby in the world. It's like dirt fishing. You never know what you're going to get, or if you're going to get anything. I mean, some days you go out and you just walk for miles and pick up trash that's under the ground. So other days you have multiple rings and cell phones and all sorts. I find keys on the beach all the time, which basically means I won a beach house. I'm pretty sure that's how it works out, but I just don't know where the key goes to. If this is live, they're starting with the murder trial. The defendant is Joseph Harris. Okay, so this would be day 3 of the murder trial. Quirky bricks. Pull tabs and gold rings sound a lot the same. As soon as you decide, oh, that's just a pull tab, I'm not going to dig it, that's the one that's going to be the gold ring. Best find shown off was a 1834 $5 gold coin, New Orleans Mint, and it was a return, meaning it had been lost for 75 years. I heard the story about it. Got access to the property, found it on the property.
Cox, we're just waiting on jurors. I'm being told that 4 are missing. All right.
And I returned the ring, the coin to the the man who was much older then. I think he's like 87 years old, who had
And
lost
Diana,
it
we're gonna
75
get
years before
back on
after he
track
had
with our
stolen it
book club.
from his mom's jewelry box, and then it fell out of his pocket while doing cartwheels in the front yard.
You know, life happens, but I will tell you, the first one, don't let her stay. Next week, Friday, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're having our book club meeting.
Judge Boyd has a book club.
Oh yeah, we're doing it on Friday.
When
And
we're
then
all,
I'll have a Q&A session.
we're all invited. See, the difference is that you were doing metal detecting as a job. And then you have to find some really nasty things. But doing it as a hobby is a lot more fun. Much fewer explosives. I won't say none, but fewer. She has a book club. You've read the book, so you're ready for book club, Angelo. What is the book? For those of us that are really late, maybe we can get it and read it within a week. She is the Oprah of the court. She really does. She does it on Zoom. Is it on this channel? Does she air it on her judge's channel? Metal detect here in Scotland. Carol, the amazing thing about being in Scotland is just the rich and extensive history in the area. And so you can, I don't know, did they have Roman activity all the way up through Scotland? I know it was through a lot of the UK, but just crazy. The caches and the coins going way, way back. Here in the United States, we don't have that depth of history. You get sentenced and you get sentenced. A sentence for everyone. Oh, that's good. Her first book was The Inmate. She laughed because jail personnel were reading it too. So this apparently is the day 3. This was the trial we were going to pick up yesterday, and the internet activity or failure on the internet's part made it a little difficult to do that. So this is Judge Boyd. Where is my other one coming from? Good morning from the Oregon coast. Ocean mist for you. Welcome. Good to have you here. We're doing a little court hopping. We're waiting for some jurors to arrive as we're joining Judge Boyd, Judge Stephanie Boyd out of Bexar County, Texas. I believe this is, I've been told, an attempted murder trial, which we're in the middle of. So we're sort of going to jump in on the deep end on this one and see what's happening. It's been going for a couple days. As we were a little bit sidetracked with a manhunt that was going on up in PA. Glad that was successfully resolved. There are 3 days available. Do you want us to go back and start at the beginning with Judge Boyd on this one? And we could watch this and then in the background I could be looking for our trial that's going to start maybe hopefully next week. So we've got 3 days to make up. I'm also curious if somebody's watched this. A lot of times the problem is in Judge Boyd's courtroom, we get extended periods of silence because not all the devices that are in the courtroom are connected to the Zoom connection. So if they're showing a video or something, sometimes we don't hear the audio or see the video. Samantha, the Othel Wallace case is, I'm not sure. I don't believe I can use the feed that's available out there, unless it's Volusia County Courthouse feed. directly. Oh, Ivan, I think the judge's bags are very, very real. Debbie says we can make up 3 days. The Volusia County Courthouse in the Florida versus Wallace case does not save their videos. So we're, let's see. We'd have to get them another place. And if the other videos that are up there are from a different source, not from the courthouse, we'd be in trouble. Do we know if it's San Antonio, Texas, or a smaller town? I thought it was San Antonio. Sounds right, but I'll need confirmation from somebody else. Maybe somebody in Texas that can tell me. First 2 days are only 2.5 hours each. Okay, so give me the link one more time. Let's see, Samantha. Let me take a look at this. I'm checking a look at the video right now. Yeah, this is a feed that I won't be able to use from the news station. That's the problem. We can't catch up on that one. Hey, Tom, we're doing a little court hopping right now. We're waiting for Judge Boyd. Actually, we're waiting for 4 jurors to arrive for this murder case to continue. Tower Hill Girl, thank you very much. 6 months. You're yellow. Your courthouse is yellow. That is great. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support. I love that you're here as well. We are looking for a new court case. A lot of times the court cases we follow are also followed by Court TV, Law and Crime, some of the big news channels around the country. That generally they're looking for courtrooms that are open, that allow cameras, and we're looking for the same thing. So if you guys have the list of what's coming up and when it's starting on those networks, we can research and see if we can gain access as well. Bexar County is San Antonio. Ivan says he wouldn't be able to spot the difference. I tell you, I went to our little town's little festival, our Collards Day festival, and there was a booth that was selling purses. Really cheap, like in the $20 to $40 range purses. And they had really nice brand names on them. But man, just the threads and stuff that were sticking out and the weird uneven stitching, and there was just so many things that just screamed that these might not have been made at the actual factory. Bobby, I haven't followed that. Don't have any thoughts on that one. I'll have to do some research if you'd like. I can look into it. This one's really just getting going. Have not missed much in Boyd's case yet. Kathleen, maybe if somebody has a little bit of background or if they've followed it, we'd love to maybe have a call in on the burner phone that can tell us a little about what's happening, who the players are, what the crime is that was alleged, what to watch for, things like that. We do Ruby Frank goes to court. We try not to do child abuse cases. They're very, let's put it this way. Our community, if YouTube is telling me the truth, our community runs between 75 to 80% female here on this channel, and so we've got a lot of people that would fit into the mother type of category. It's very difficult for any parent to hear these sort of things, and those sort of cases that we followed in the past. I mean, we followed Letitia Stout. They were very hard on the community. It was. I like coming here to be something that people can enjoy and can can feel, uplifted or at least cheered up or buoyed up by each other. But when it gets just really heavy, emotionally heavy, that's challenging. So we try to steer clear of those as best we can. Occasionally, the trials do have those elements in it, but let's see. New trial starts today, says Samantha. WKYC. Who's WKYC? We'll need a different feed than that one. Jackie says, send a link to the burner for the first day of this trial. Jackie, let me look at that. Did you just send it this morning? And Jackie, can you send me just one more text that just says Jackie Ferreira on it? Because it will allow me to put it at the top of this. It's just hard to find. I've still got hundreds. I've been replying to as many as I can, but I've still got hundreds of text messages to reply to. Let's see. Wow. I just read this. Hang on one second. Thanks, Jackie. Give me just 1 second. I'll take a look at that one. Still waiting for Judge Boyd to her cameras. Her audio's turned off, but her cameras are on. So just 1 second here.
All right, everyone. Court is calling 2022 CR 3745, State of Texas versus Joseph Dale Harris. Could I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Jason Garahan and Daniel Escobar, Your Honor.
Defense?
Cornelius Cox.
All right, and are you Mr.
Lorraine from.
All right, and are you Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Are both parties ready to proceed?
State is ready, Your Honor. We're ready, Judge.
All right. And State, do you have your witness ready?
Yes, we do.
Would you like to already call them in?
Okay, we might go back and watch the beginning of this. I think we've got links to all of this. If you'll give me just 1 second, we're going to pause. So yes, it's still going on live, but let's see, it's coming in on camera 6. We're going to go back and find the original, I think it was September 13th. They're short days, apparently. So we have 2 hours and 20 minutes on this one of day one. We'll see if we can skip through and get caught up, possibly quickly with the breaks. So Jackie, thank you. We'll see if we can jump to the action here because it's on a replay. We'll also be able to skip a few of the. Oops, that's not it. A few of the breaks, so it'll be even shorter.
Okay. All right. So State, are you ready to bring the jurors in?
That sounds awful.
Are they? Okay.
Was the audio like this originally? Because it's really garbled. See if I can bring it through on a different device. Where are we at? 220. We're right here. Trying to get the opening statements. Okay, let's listen here.
Okay.
We're going to switch to camera 2. Yeah, this is a pain. Let's see if we can get this fixed. I think where we are right now is about to bring the jury in prior to opening statements. At the beginning of this case, and it's only about 2 hours of video in this video. And we might be able to fast forward through some breaks.
Okay. All right. So, State, are you ready to bring the jurors in?
Well, Judge, I
Are
just
they?
tell them that we give them time to.
Okay.
I think they would like to be here.
All right.
Okay, and we can do a counter on this case as well. If you guys hear something funny or you think it will be occurring frequently in the case, we'll start counting how many times it happens. Sometimes there's a funny word or a way things are said that gets everyone's attention, and it happens over and over. Sometimes it's just the objections, if there's a lot of spicy objections going on.
All right. State, is that everyone?
Nope, no, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, that is everything.
All right. Can you let Deputy Lawyer know the jurors can come in?
Okay, we're going to hear this. This case is going to be called. The charges are going to be read, and we're going to begin with the opening statements.
Yes.
Those will explain this case. Yes, we definitely cover Brian Koberger on this channel. I may be flying out there to do that. That might be a ways off, though, because he just waived his speedy trial rights.
Oh, no, please be seated. We're standing for you off.
The jury's standing. We're not going to see the jury.
Everyone, please be seated. All right. State.
True bill of indictment. In the name and by authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized and handled and sworn as such at the March term AD 2022 of the 175th Judicial District Court of said county, in said court at said term, to present in and to said court that in the county and state aforesaid and anterior to the presentment of this indictment, count 1, paragraph A, on or about 28th day of February 2022, Joseph Dale Harris did intentionally and knowingly cause the death of an individual, namely Isaiah Orozco, hereinafter referred to as complainant, by shooting the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a firearm. Paragraph B, and on or about the 28th day of February 2022, Joseph Dale Harris, with intent to cause serious bodily injury to an individual, namely Isaiah Orozco, hereinafter referred to as complainant, did commit an act clearly dangerous to human life that caused the death of Isaiah Orozco by shooting the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a firearm, against the peace and dignity of the state.
All right, Mr. Harris, to that, how do you plea?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, you may be seated. State, do you have any opening statements?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what the state intends to prove up in the next few days or following days. One, on February 28th, 2022, at roughly 11:30 a.m., so in the morning, it's daylight. Just actually a short walk from here, about 2 blocks away from here, by the International Building, by a Via bus stop, is where Joseph Harris shot 16 times at an individual, shooting him in the back 16. Numerous times. 16. And then the last shot going directly to his head as he lay on the ground with his hand up. The fact is that what you're going to see is you're going to actually see him shoot Isaiah Orozco. You're going to see it. You're going to see the approach. You're going to see the after. You're going to see all that because there's actually a video of it. A Via bus happened to pull up at the right time at this bus stop, 5:13 to be exact, the bus. When the bus pulls up, Isaiah Orozco is standing there facing the defendant. And he's standing there. You're going to see Orozco pull out a gun at one point as he's backing away out of his pocket. You're going to see the defendant approaching him, sees the gun, and then backs off. You're going to see Isaiah put the gun back in his pocket. You're going to see hand signals. You're going to see that Isaiah is saying he's leaving. And not only is he leaving, he turns around and walks away. And when he's walking away, this man right here pulls out his gun, cocks it, and runs after him, shooting 16 times in the middle of the day, in the middle of these streets of San Antonio, striking him in the back several times. Isaiah goes down, is on the ground, pausing the shots after the 15th shot. You're going to hear that. You know why? Because there's audio to that video. This man walks up, shoots him one more time directly through the head. He just calmly puts the gun back in his holster, turns around, and walks back to the bus stop, gives a fist bump to his buddy that's at the bus stop. I'm going to tell you, Isaiah wasn't perfect that day. He did have a gun on him, legally. He was 21 years old. He had a gun in his pocket. The defendant had a gun on him legally. But one person decided to be the bigger person that day and walk away, turn the other cheek. That cost him his life. That evidence will show that this man murdered, shot another man in the middle of on the side of the street in broad daylight, in front of witnesses, and in front of the best witness that you're going to see is a video that you can see, and you're going to be able to hear the shots. Thank you.
Defense. All right, State, you may call your first witness.
State calls Officer Rodolfo Robles, Your Honor.
Okay, so firearms that hold multiple rounds like that it's going to be a semi-automatic firearm, and I can't show firearms on here because they don't like that. But a magazine like this stacks bullets back and forth. This one happens to be 40 caliber, and it can hold 12 rounds. A 9mm would probably be what is being used in here. It's a little smaller bullet, meaning that the diameter on the back is a tiny bit smaller. And it's probably I'm guessing it's a 9mm that holds 16 rounds, or 15 plus 1, meaning there's 15 in the magazine, and then there can be 1 in the chamber as well.
All right,
so
can you raise your right
shots.
hand for me? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, if you'll have a seat, be sure to keep your voice up so the members of the jury can hear and also the court reporter can hear. If you'll state your name for the record and spell it, please.
Rodolfo Robles, R-O-D-O-L-O. Last name is Robles, R-O-B-L-E-S.
They may have reserved till later.
Thank you. Officer, obviously you're not wearing a uniform right now.
Yes, sir.
In fact, is that a Valero?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You don't work at Valero, do you?
No, this is my wife's company.
Okay. All right. Well, can you please tell the jury who you work for?
San Antonio Park Police.
And how long have you worked with San Antonio Park Police?
About 11 years now.
11 years. And back in 2022, that would have been about 10 years?
Yes,
About
sir.
A year ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you have to go through particular training to become a police officer?
Yes.
And are you a certified Texas peace officer?
Yes, I am.
And so you went through that training and you have roughly now 11 years of experience.
Yes, sir.
What are your current duties as a police officer?
Current duties, bike patrol. I patrol downtown. I patrol the trails.
And so that's like taking care of downtown Riverwalk and then also trails of downtown?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and jump right in and the reason that you're here. Back on February 28th, 2022, were you dispatched to a shooting scene?
Yes, I was.
Will you tell the jury, what initially alerted you to this shooting scene?
I was maybe about a block and a half away. Heard some shots fired. Heard over the radio dispatch say that there's been shots fired at, I believe it was 200 South St. Mary's, a block and a half from where I was at the park doing a patrol by. As soon as I heard the shots, I started heading that way on my bike. As dispatch was giving out an address and description of the individuals.
And so did you make your way to that scene?
Yes, I did.
And when you arrived at the scene, can you just generally tell the jury what you saw?
As soon as I arrived on the scene, I saw the white male on the floor bleeding from, I believe, his head area. Yeah, that's exactly what I saw when I got there.
And to be fair, is there a body cam? Did you have a body cam that day?
Yes.
Okay. And so your body cam would show the depictions of everything that happened that day from your perspective of, it's on your chest, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. But let me just go through, after you arrived, you saw the individual on the ground, then what did you do at that point?
Saw the individual on the ground. I was looking straight ahead, which is south direction. I saw a couple people. I yelled out, like my report states, I yelled out to anyone that would hear me. Does anyone know who shot the victim? Who's the shooter? Believe Mr. Harris said, I'm the shooter. I shot him. I said, okay, I drew my city issued weapon at that point. Mr. Harris complied with the orders to put his hands in the air. I told him to get down on the ground, arms spread. He complied. I then walked up to him with a couple other officers, removed his weapon from his waistband, which he said he had it down in his waistband, cleared the weapon. Then he was handcuffed. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. And so he was cooperative with you.
Yes.
And at that point, did you handcuffed him, I believe you just stated, and you relieved him of his firearm?
Yes.
Do you remember where the firearm was at on his body?
Right side waistband. I believe so, yeah.
Dr. Mayor, Coach?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked state exhibit number 1, 2, and 3. Can you just go through those and tell me when you're done?
Okay, this case already sounds crazy. This officer was a block and a half away, heard the shots.
And have you been able to review those?
And they got dispatched.
Yes. And are these still photos from a body cam?
Yes.
And are these still photos from a body cam of yours?
Yes.
Okay. Each one of them?
Yes, it looked like.
We're a few hours behind on this case.
And these are from the scene that day, and they fairly and accurately represent that scene that day? Your Honor, we'd like to enter State Exhibit number 1, 2, and 3. Will the tender to defense for any objections?
So we're a few hours behind. It was a couple days. This is 2 hours of the first day. Then we'll pick up the second day. They're currently live right now. So we're going to catch up by skipping the breaks.
Yes.
And starting before they begin. I've got to step away for a bit, so I'm going to turn the sound up and take my headphones off. I'll be off camera for just a second, but I'm listening. There's some. These would be sidebar moments, right? So what we're seeing here is the sidebars not being shown. The lawyers are. I don't get to step away when this happens. The lawyers are talking to the judge about some of the evidence. They're discussing. Maybe they're putting an objection to some of the evidence being admitted into the court. So the judge has turned off the microphones and they turn off the cameras on the sidebar just so we can't read their lips. In case some of us are really good at that, which we're not. I mean, a few of us maybe, but we're going to. We're gonna see how this plays out. I'm trying to get a second video feed going so I can hop, skip, and jump past these delays just a little bit. Okay, this is. This is Wednesday, September 13th. Judge Stephanie Boyd. Okay. Sidebar is almost over. Give them just a minute. I'm trying to skip ahead and cut to another camera.
Oh, and I'm sorry, state defense.
Okay, so they do it again. So we're going to go back here and cut to 3. Okay, now I'm using 2 different inputs, so we can try to skip these pauses here.
All right, state, you may proceed. State exhibits, I'm sorry, states exhibits 1, 2, and 3 are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And may I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you talking.
Well, thank you. State exhibit number 1. What does that show, sir?
It shows Mr. Harris lying on his side,
Okay.
handcuffed.
And that's on the street. Is that correct?
Yes.
And why is he handcuffed?
He's handcuffed because he's being detained for a possible crime that he committed.
Okay. Well, because what did he say to you right before you handcuffed him?
That'll be overruled.
What did he say to you right before you handcuffed him?
He said, I shot him.
Okay, thank you. State exhibit number 2. What does that show?
Shows Mr. Harris lying on his side with his shirt up and his weapon showing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to overtalk you. And the court reporter looked at me just now and got mad at me. So sorry. Go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Shows him lying on his side with his shirt up and showing his weapon.
Okay. And then state exhibit number 3.
It shows me grabbing the weapon from his waistband.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I publish to the jury?
Yes.
This seems like a very strong case for the
Just to
prosecution.
ask you, this location, is it in Bear County, Texas?
Yes.
And this happened on February 28, 2022?
Yes.
Thank you. Once you detain the individual and you have the weapon, what do you do at that point with the weapon?
At that point, I believe I just make it safe. I clear it.
What does that mean? Can you explain it to the jury, please?
Clear the weapon is just basically empty the magazine. If there's a magazine, racking the slide a couple times to make sure there's nothing in the chamber.
And was there anything in the chamber?
I believe there was one in the chamber.
One in the chamber? What does that one mean?
It means when I racked the slide, one bullet came out of the chamber.
And a bullet, can you just describe, I mean, I don't know if the jury is all aware of what a bullet is. Can you just describe to what that is?
A bullet is exactly what a bullet is.
Okay.
To shoot someone.
Bullet is a bullet.
Well, I mean, a bullet is the actual part that comes out of the gun.
Yes.
Okay. Bleeding.
Sustained. Sustained.
Thank you. Good. All right. So then, you said you made it safe. Was there any other bullets in the what do you call it, the magazine?
Magazine?
Was there any in there? Do you recall?
I do not recall.
And I'll show you what's marked safe exhibit number 4 and number 5. Is that the same? What does that show to you?
It shows a weapon.
And in that picture, is that the weapon that you also received from the defendant?
Yes.
Objection.
Sustained.
Lots of objections.
Now, did you speak with you spoke with the defendant, is that correct?
Yes.
And then did you speak to anybody else at the scene?
I believe I spoke with maybe a witness or two briefly.
Would that be depicted on your body cam?
It should be.
Any approach again, Rob?
Yes.
I'll show you what's in marked safe exhibit number 6. Can you identify that?
Looks like a DVD of my body camera.
And do you have any markings on there that you can identify personally?
That I wrote on there.
You actually wrote on, what did you write on there?
Name, badge number, date.
Okay, thank you. And is this, what is this?
It's of my body camera footage of the date.
And did you review this body cam?
I've seen it, yes.
And is it altered in any way?
No.
Well, does it have audio?
I don't believe that one has audio.
No audio. The original one had audio, is that correct?
Yes.
But due to limitations, we had to stricken the audio, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you view this fairly and accurately represents that scene that day from your body cam?
Yes.
Your Honor, we'll move to interstate exhibit number 6. We'll tender to defense for any objections.
Let's see if the defense can object to the body camera footage.
Yes.
They're going to come up. They're going to discuss it. All right. So there's a lot of sidebars here. Let me just see what's our timer here. Where are we at? We're at 32:52. Right. So I need to fix it on the other one. Camera 2.
And Judge, for state exhibit number 6, I just disclosed to defense counsel that we have it on our laptops, the exact same copy for purposes of just streaming it, or rather getting it to the jury, we'd ask that we can play it from our computer. That is a copy of State Exhibit number 6.
And there's no objection, is that correct?
Correct. Well, it's the same as that.
All right, yes, you may.
Thank you, Judge. And may we publish to the jury?
Yes,
But not waiving any other objections that were made.
yes. No other objections made by the defense will be waived.
And officer, this is obviously, well, tell me what this is.
This looks like my body camera footage at Main Plaza Park on Commerce Street. Now heard the gunshots. Turning on my body cam.
We can almost see the video in the reflection on the back door. Just going forward. He's riding, I think, on his bike or running, one of the two. Yes, I believe the defendant's in the brown suit on the far right of the image on the left side. So we're now watching body camera footage.
Now, is this individual that you were detaining?
Or they
Yes.
The same one that was in State Exhibit number 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
I don't recall the date of the shooting. Does anyone remember? Use our CSI Miami skills and zoom in so we can watch the reflection. The problem is I can't make it any larger than 100% size, and I'm already at 100%.
And is this the same individual that you detained?
Yes.
That is on 11:29 and 10 seconds?
Yes.
At this point, what are y'all doing on the scene?
At this point, looking for any witnesses and asking around questions. Maybe there's any more suspects.
So we're still watching the, at least in court, they're watching the body camera image of the video of the police officer, from the police officer who's witness on the stand right now, responded to the shooting the defendant in the tan suit on the far right hand.
Are you, I guess, is your responsibilities to investigate the whole scene, or is that somebody else's duty?
That would be someone else's duty.
Like who?
Follow-up units, detectives.
Detectives or follow-up units?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to pause it at 11:32 and 13 seconds. And for time period here, you stayed at the scene, and did you do anything else at the scene other than what we see on the camera?
I don't believe so.
And you collected the gun at that one point. What do you remember what you did with the gun?
I believe I turned it over to another officer.
And again, just to reiterate, did the defendant say to you why he shot the person that was shot?
Objection. There's a good point. If
Oh, you all can remain seated with your objection because it makes it easier for the court reporter to can hear.
if the prosecutor is going to go into questioning when statements at this point, and my client appears to be in custody, then the proper foundations.
All right. State, you want to lay the foundation?
Thank you.
So you objected to the
And
statements of the
other
client made
witnesses
in
that were at
custody.
the scene. I want to make sure to be clear. Did you speak with any other witness? I mean, well, one, did you write down anybody's names or addresses or anything in your report?
I did not.
Is there some other officer that was responsible for those duties?
Yes.
We'll pass the witness on.
All right, defense.
Now, also, you is your testimony that you were the first officer on the scene?
Yes.
Now, a few months ago, when we're looking at the video, I believe you testified earlier that you approached the scene and you asked a question, correct?
Yes.
And you said somebody said something to you and you said you believe it was my mind.
Yes.
Now, when you say you believe it was, are you positive or you think that maybe
I'm positive it was him.
positive? Now, when you approached the scene, was he standing? Was he lying on the ground? Was he running, walking? What was he?
He was standing.
He was standing?
Yes.
Did you order him at that point, as soon as you see him, would you give him any order?
Yes.
So, when you say what, as soon as you saw him, as you coming up towards, you gave him an order, correct?
Yes.
You recall what order you did?
If he can put his hands up in the air.
I may just get the video. I need to bring it back.
Sure.
These pauses are when they're playing the video. We can't see or hear it. The defendants get a little back crack action in. Feel better. A little self chiropractor work. Bit of a yawn. Still repping his wife's business instead of his police uniform. I thought that was pretty funny. I'm not sure if it's policy to wear your uniform or not, but he's helping the wife out a little bit.
At this point. Okay. So at this point, so you're looking at the video. Are you at this point? Are you saying anything to my client at that point?
Yes.
Oh, so you're yelling towards him.
Yes.
So at that point, what do you yell? What do you say? Yeah.
Who shot the victim?
Okay. Now, at that point on the video, can you see my client?
Yes.
Okay. So when you on that particular still where the camera is now, do you notice anything about his hands? My client?
They're up in the air.
They're up in the air. Now, did you prior to actually that when you yelled to him, did you yell to him to put his hands up in the air?
I believe simultaneously, as I was approaching, I was yelling. As soon as I saw the victim on the ground, that's when I yelled, "Who's the shooter?" He said, "I am." I think he said he put his hands in the air as I was saying, "Get your hands in the air." It was almost at the same time.
Okay, so your testimony now is that you recall specifically telling my client to put his hands in, or were they already up in?
I believe I was asked, what did I say? So I answered to what I had said.
Okay. Do you recall exactly? Because you keep saying you believe. Do you remember exactly how?
I remember exactly.
Okay. So my question to you again: did you tell him to put his hands up in the air, or was his hands already up in the air?
I believe they happened at the same time. Well, they did happen at the same time.
Okay. So your testimony is that when you approach and his hands being up in the air is based on a response to something that you said to him?
If we had the audio version, it would probably get me saying, "Put your hands in the air." I think when he saw me, he started to put his hands in the air also.
Okay. Now, you've had a chance to review the video, correct?
Yes.
So you had a chance to review the audio portion, correct?
Been a couple weeks.
Oh, but you did have a chance to review it,
Yes.
correct? Oh.
This style of questioning is frustrating. Long pauses. Judge Newman would have excused the witness by now.
You wrote a report, correct? You wrote a police report.
I wrote a supplement report.
Oh, supplemental. And you were there about, how long, 45 minutes, you said? That's likely?
I believe 30 to 45 minutes.
30 to 45. Okay. And that supplemental you wrote, other than that supplemental, did you write any other report?
No.
You had a chance, have you had a chance to look at the supplemental report that you wrote?
Yes.
Okay. It's about what, paragraph?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of it with you?
Yes.
Coach Wilkinson?
Yes.
Now, sir, I show you this mark as defendants, defense one. And I just want you to look at what's marked as defense one and see whether or not it's an exact copy of your report.
You're saying if these are the same?
Sure, whether they're the same.
Oh, okay. Yes, they look like it.
And you've had a chance, like you said, not only to view the videotape with the audio, you also had a chance to review defendant's exhibit number one, correct?
Yes, it's been a couple of weeks since I've reviewed the with the audio. I've seen this one a lot more.
All right, but you, in terms of your report, you had a chance to review that, correct?
To review my report?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You need to look at it now to refresh your recollection of anything.
No, I have it right here.
Okay, yeah, right. Now, you indicated just a few minutes ago that you, as you approached the area, saw my client, that you mentioned or stated to him words effective of raising your hands at the same time he was raising his hand. Is that, did you say anything like that or similar to that?
Yes.
Now, if you look at your report, and when you get to the part that suggests that it's the sequence of how it happened, let me know. Look up. So when you get that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Now, it is true that your report doesn't support that version that you just testified.
To my recollection, if we watched the video with some audio, it would say, it would hear me saying that put your hands up or put your hands up, as he complied. Like I said earlier, he complied with every command and had his hands up.
Now, is it fair to say that you said you were a police officer how long?
11 years.
11 years. Now, and you've gone through the academy, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Part of going to the academy is that I believe you get training courses in the academy about writing police reports, correct?
Yes.
Oh. And what's the purpose for writing a police report?
Purpose for writing a police report?
Yeah. What is the purpose in the academy when you're training? What's the purpose for writing a police report?
To have a log of what happened.
Correct. And part of that training is that because you may have to rely on that report at a later date. Say if you're going to testify or try to recall events that have happened, correct? Correct?
Yes.
And a part of your training is that you try to put as accurate as possible information and try to put information in the report as accurately as you possibly can. I would imagine.
Yes.
Correct. So, would you agree that in your report, there's no mention of my client raising his hand? There's no.
No, it says that I instructed him to get on the ground and spread his arms out.
So the answer to my question is that no, you didn't. Based on your report, you didn't tell him to raise his hand.
Based on the supplement, that one sentence is not. It's not in there.
And this is your report, correct?
This is my report.
Holly Mack.
Okay, now you said that
where are you seeing that?
A part of your job or your duties at that point, you were about 45 minutes. And you did somewhat of an investigation in terms of trying to locate witnesses. Did you try to locate any witnesses?
I assisted other officers in just asking around who witnessed it, but I mainly stayed next to Mr. Harris.
So is that a yes or no? Did you make contact with any witnesses?
By asking if they saw anything, and sending another officer to, as officers arrive on scene, I'm the only one. I'm the main officer there, the first officer. I send the officer to any witnesses that say I saw something or are they willing to talk to us.
So it's fair to say that you get contact or approach any witnesses, or did while you're out there for
No, I'm not going to approach any. I'm not going to leave Mr. Harris' side. No.
So in terms of contacting any witnesses, you did?
No.
No. So you didn't take any names or anything?
No.
Now, you did testify that you removed the weapon from my client, correct?
Yes.
And it's a handle, correct?
Yes.
This lawyer has a very slow delivery style, but he seems to be good. I mean, he's getting the right things.
So you ride, you ask a question, who's the shooter? You place my client into custody right away, right?
Yes.
And you did that, it's fair to say that you didn't know what led up to the shooting. Correct?
No.
This is a murder case.
You can't testify whether our client was being robbed or assaulted because you didn't see what led up to the shooting, correct?
Correct.
So at this point, somebody shot. Somebody shot. You get there. Somebody claimed that they did the shooting. So automatically, you put the shooter in custody.
Yes.
That's just good police work. Yeah, the defendant claimed he admitted to shooting it right there on the scene, so I'm not sure where they're going with this.
It's fair to say that you didn't have to chase my client half a block at all. You didn't have to run after and catch it.
No.
I believe you said that he cooperated with it, right?
Yes.
I believe this will be a self-defense claim. Because we've already heard
State?
testimony.
Yes.
Let's see. The state's much faster on the delivery. It'll wake us up again.
State exhibit number 7.
Okay.
Can you identify that?
Yes.
And what is that?
Picture of Mr. Harris.
And you keep on, as you say, Mr. Harris, I see that you look somewhere in the courtroom. Do you see Mr. Harris in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Can you please just identify him, and by pointing at him and identifying what he's wearing?
You said point at him?
Yes, sir.
The glasses, brown suit?
Thank you. And let the record reflect that the officer has identified Mr. Harris, the defendant in this case. And in this photo, is that fairly and accurately represent what the individual, Mr. Harris, looked like that day?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move to interstate exhibit number 7. Your Honor, we'll tender to the defense for any objections.
This is a still image, probably from the body cam footage showing the defendant. That's how he looked that day.
Who approached it?
Yes.
Wow, they approach over everything. This is nuts. Okay. So let's see on camera 3. Let's see if we can speed up through this. We're going to go to right here. Okay, now we'll switch to camera 3. I'm switching back and forth between 2 feeds, so we're cutting out a lot of the sidebar chat because we can't hear it, we can't see it. So why don't we just skip it and get right back to the action, which is not necessarily quick to begin with.
Yes.
Also, is there an SAP number associated with this case?
Yes.
What is that SAP number?
2204-2351.
2204-2351?
Yes.
Thank you. And just to touch on your supplement, were you the main officer handling this case as like the officer that was responsible for the duty of the main report?
No, I was not.
Were you the detective associated with this case that did the prosecution?
No, I was not.
And so I guess that word supplement comes out, supplement report. Can you describe to the jury what a supplement report is?
Supplementary report is just that's what it is. We got the main report, and if any other officers made the scene or done anything on the scene, they write a supplement report, which is just maybe a couple lines. It's generally going to be smaller than the main report. The main report's going to have everything in there.
And also something from the scene that we actually have on the street right now, the body worn cam. You spoke about an audio portion too. Everything that you can testify to is on that body worn cam. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's what it's shown.
Defense?
Please, not another sidebar.
Page 7. Like,
Yes. Do you have state's exhibit number 7?
Number 7 that I gave to the publisher to the jury on.
All right. I think it's making its way through the back room.
when it makes it.
They're handing exhibits through the jury. They get to hold the pictures. So they're passing it around right now. We're waiting for them to finish looking at the picture. I think it's a picture of the defendant.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Kevin H. Bacon. Appreciate it.
Also, with reference to state exhibit number 7, were you present when that program was done?
Yes, you can approach.
No, I was not.
Do you know when it was?
I do not.
I'm going to take a short nap between now and his next question.
Whether it was taken San Antonio or Dallas?
San Antonio.
Oh, well, you weren't there. Did you know it was taken in San Antonio? Yes. Oh. Uh, what time was it taken?
I wouldn't know.
What day?
According to policy, it would have to be taken
Well, I'm not
same
talking
day.
about policy. Did you see it being taken?
No, I didn't.
Do we want to speed up the playback? Because the people that talk fast will be a lot faster.
How bad?
State?
Oh,
Yes.
no further questions from the state.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Subject to recall.
All right. The rule has been invoked. What that means is you cannot discuss your testimony with anyone. You cannot talk to anyone about this case. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand?
Yes.
You are not to view anything about this case. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. You may step down.
Okay.
State, call your next witness.
State calls Officer Carl Jackson.
Excuse me, if you'll leave the exhibits with the court reporter. All right, if you'll take a seat here, please. All right, do you need the glasses? The glasses, do you need those? Okay, all right, you can keep them. All right, can you raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the members of the jury can hear and the court reporter can hear. If you could state your name for the record and spell it, please.
Carl Jackson, CarlJackson.
State.
Officer Jackson, who do you currently work for?
San Antonio Park Police,
And how long have you worked for the San Antonio Park Police?
29 and a half years.
And what are your current duties with the Park Police?
Patrol the Riverwalk and whatever is going on up on street level, protect and serve the public.
So mainly you're assigned to the downtown.
Yes.
And what type of training did it take to become a member of the Park Police?
You have to go to the law enforcement academy, training academy, get certified, and pass the state and state law test.
So
TCOs.
So you're a certified peace officer.
Yes.
Now, were you working on February 28th, 2022?
Yes.
And were you called out to a shooting on that day?
Yes.
And did you write a report regarding what happened that day?
Yes.
Would it benefit you to have that report in front of you?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
May I approach, please? Here, good sir. If you can just make sure, please don't read from it directly, but if you need to reflect the recollection.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go get something to
Now, do you
drink or else I'm
recall
going to fall
where
asleep.
did the shooting occur?
I'm listening.
Yes.
Where was it?
200 South St. Mary's.
And were you far from the shooting when you were called out to the scene?
Distance wise and I guess walking. Yes, I was pretty far distance from that.
And were you equipped with body worn camera on that day?
Yes.
And are you trained in how to operate the body worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
So is he reading his report right now? Is that what's going on?
Officer Jackson, I'm approaching with what's been marked.
There we go.
What am I holding?
A disc with my name on it, and about Joseph Harris.
I'm approaching with
And
this.
have you
What
had
am
an
I
opportunity
holding?
to view what's on this disc?
Yes.
And did you make any markings on this disc after you watched it?
No.
And take a look, sir.
Oh, yes. Yes, my name and the date, and my badge number.
And so, aside from the audio being redacted, is this a true and accurate copy of your body worn camera from that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, state would offer state's exhibit number 8 in evidence.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief recess.
We're going to skip that.
10 minutes. You've heard some evidence in this case. You're not allowed to start deliberating in your mind or with each other. You're not to do any investigation work. If you see anything, you're to ignore it. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, so I'll bring you back in 10 minutes. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.
And she leaves the witness on the stand during this break, I think. I think he just sits there on the stand. Let's let them leave and make sure there's no business to conduct with the attorneys. Lee and Shells were up at the protest outside the Karen Reed case. They did not get in the courtroom this time, but they were up there and sent me some great pictures. Sent them to Brandy as well. Brandy's covering that protest as well. A trial date was set for March of next year on the Karen Reed case, so we'll keep an eye on that. I'm still surprised it's going to court. I just, it seems like there are a lot of questions, or maybe that she has just really good defense attorneys, but that's going to be a fun one to watch as that develops. I think he just chills out for a minute during this break. Okay. So we're going to switch to camera 2, which is a little bit further ahead after the break. Lee, thanks for those pictures. It was good. I need to be playing the sound effect every time we skip ahead. So consider that I've played this every time we've teleported into the future. Yes, the Karen Reed case. Somebody was saying that they've heard something about a decision in the BK case. I have not seen that decision come back. He is wearing prescription sunglasses indoors, which the judge sort of called him out on, saying, hey, do you need the sunglasses? And he's like, oh, they're prescription. So he got away with it. But normally that would be considered inconsiderate, and especially from a police officer. But because they're prescription, he can let it slide. Okay. Apparently we didn't warp far enough into the future. He's just like still as can be. So let's see if I can do this right. There we go. Nope, it jumped back. They're still standing for the jury and having a seat 13118. There we go.
No, thanks.
All right, state's exhibit number 8A is admitted.
And Your Honor, permission to publish to the jury.
That will be granted.
So they're publishing another piece of evidence. Jury gets to see it. I have not seen anything on the BK case as far as a decision.
Now, Officer Jackson, you mentioned earlier that you were walking over to the scene of the shooting.
Yes.
Do you recall, sir, where did the shooting occur?
200 South St. Mary's.
Looks like we're watching his body camera footage right now. If you look at the reflection in the door, that shows us a little bit of the screen. So if things are moving there, we know they're watching a video. There it is. Holy cow. He did
Now,
rule.
Officer Jackson, were you the first officer on the scene?
No.
BK, no cameras.
There were quite a few other officers there, right?
Yes.
When you arrived, what did you see?
I saw the victim lying on the ground, and then the other Mr. Harris was down further.
And what did you do after this moment?
Helped gather information and helped Mr. Harris up.
Did you stay by Mr. Harris for a short while, a little while? How long did you stay here?
For a little while.
And do you recall what was the SAPD number, case number here?
The case number is 2204-2351.
Now, besides staying with,
I'm not sure if that's a final ruling or just a ban on a
Did you do
specific
anything
request,
else?
though. Hang on.
Yes, I was asking him what had happened, trying to get information from the time when what happened.
Did you talk to anyone else at the scene?
Yeah, some of the supervisors and the fire department.
But you didn't speak to any witnesses.
No, I didn't.
And you weren't there whenever the shooting happened.
No,
So you don't know what happened at
no,
that time.
no.
Pass the witness, Judge.
All right, defense.
Also, I believe you testified that you were some distance away when you got the call.
Yes,
You were still somewhere in the downtown area. Were you on bike patrol? Or?
no. I was on foot patrol on the Riverwalk.
So to get to the location, from where you were when you got the radio message to the location, how long did it take you approximately?
Probably about 5 minutes at least.
Now, your testimony is that you did not personally talk to any other witness, right?
Right.
I don't think BK judge has decided anything. Sorry. I know I'm doing two things at once. The tweet I saw that said it was closed, I think they misread the form.
The possible evidence that they have been in this.
No.
And it's fair to say you were never designated as a to do the investigation like you in order to detect. You didn't do anything, right?
Say that again.
Well, in terms of you weren't ever designated as like a lead investigator on this scene, right?
No.
Right?
think I could pass the bar exam. I think I could be a lawyer. I'm just telling you.
State?
Nothing further from the state.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
So,
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. You're not allowed to view anything. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, you may step down. Thank you. State, call your next witness.
Yes, state calls Officer Will Silva.
Okay, we've seen this before, where the defense reserves the right to recall all the witnesses. We saw this. What was this case? This was the lady who just got convicted for shooting her husband. Why can I not remember her name? We just followed this a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, the defense did the same thing, and I think it came across as an unorganized defense plan.
All right, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can have a seat. If you'll state your name for the record and spell it in keys, please keep your voice raised so that the members of the jury can hear in the court reporter.
Okay, Officer Joel Silva. It's Joelsilva.
State?
Thank you. May I proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Officer Silva, can you please just want to introduce yourself to the jury?
I'm a San Antonio police officer. I've been on for about 12 years here down on the downtown bike patrol unit.
And I'm just going to go over your credentials rather quickly. Did you go to the police academy?
Yes, sir.
San Antonio police officer?
Yes, sir.
Are you Texas certified police officer?
Yes, sir.
And you're currently a police officer, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you work for SAPD?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's talk about February 28, 2022. I'll slow down.
They said to slow down. The court reporter's like, stop, I'm dying.
Did you go to a scene of a shooting?
Yes, sir.
And where was that scene located?
It was located at the 200 block of South St. Mary's.
And is that here in Bear County, Texas?
Yes, sir.
And you, I asked you if it was a shooting. Was that a shooting scene?
Yes, sir.
And what does a shooting scene mean?
The call was for a shooting in progress. Not sure what other information you'd want from that.
You answered the question. The shooting scene, when you arrived at the scene, what did you see?
When I arrived on scene, an officer was working on Mr. Orozco, who was laid out on the street and bloody. So I began triaging him.
Okay, so you said Orozco. Was that I guess the individual that was shot at the scene?
objection, Judge. All would have to be based on hearsay.
All right.
Well, I'll rephrase.
All right.
Did Mr. Orozco have holes in him?
Objection, bleeding.
Sustained.
Wow.
What condition was Mr. Orozco in?
Well, question yourself. Who approached it?
Would you like to take the witness on board here?
That's fine.
Okay.
Now, officer, you said that there was someone that was being attended to on the scene, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you know who that person was?
I didn't know his name. I knew he was a.
Right. You didn't know who that person was, did you?
No, sir.
Oh. So in terms of even a name, you learned that from somebody else, right?
I learned it there on the scene. Yes, sir.
Right. From someone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in terms of the question being asked to, well, he asked in his personal knowledge who it was. That hasn't even been in the recent evidence yet. So the question itself is leading in the.
Oh, you can remain seated.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know it's a habit, but it's just easier for the court reporter to hear. So your objection, counsel?
Oh, my objection is that the question itself is a leading question.
1 second, I paused. I dragged the wrong thing here.
State.
Sorry about this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to let the officer explain what he saw at the scene.
All right.
And
So,
I mean, motion to limit, I can't refer to the individual as anything
Okay,
other than his
I just
name.
screwed it up big
All
time.
right,
Let me
so-
pause for just a second.
With regards to the individual at the scene, if this, is this the complainant, alleged to be the complainant?
No, we're good.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if it's alleged to be the complainant, then I think the alleged complainant can be referred to as complainant.
Correct. And
I messed up my other one. Sorry about that.
So with regards to the objection as to the name of the alleged complainant, that is sustained.
thank you.
State, you may proceed.
Seems like a
For
weird
one, the individual at the scene
objection.
was the alleged complainant. Is that who you saw on the ground bleeding
Yes, sir.
that had holes in them?
Yes, sir.
And when you, I believe you stated you gave, I'm rephrasing this, but administered aid to this complainant, the alleged complainant. Is that correct, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you were at the scene, did you search the alleged complainant?
Yes, sir.
And when you searched the alleged complainant, did you find anything on him? Like, well, just tell the jury what you found on him.
Yes, sir. So I was notified that there was a possible gun on him. So I did a quick search of him, and the gun was found on his person in his front right pocket.
I'm sorry, you stated front right pocket?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what did you do with that gun? Did you leave it in the pocket or did you take it out?
No, sir. I retrieved the gun. I dropped the mag out of it, and I cleared the chamber. The chamber did not have a bullet in it, so it was loaded with a mag that was fully loaded, but no round in the chamber.
So no round in the actual barrel of the gun, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And what type of gun was this? Can you tell the jury what type of gun?
It was a semi-automatic pistol.
Do you actually have the name of the gun and the make and the serial number?
Yes, sir. Glock 48, and the serial number, I believe, should be Bravo Victor Delta Whiskey 234.
And that was found on the alleged complainant
Yes, sir.
inside of his pocket.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sorry, which side?
Front right pocket.
And well, you stated earlier that you didn't have, there's no bullet in the chamber. What does that tell you?
It wasn't ready to fire. It was loaded, just not ready to fire.
And so what do you mean not ready to fire?
If you pulled the trigger, it would just go click. Nothing would happen.
So let me ask you, if I pulled out the gun with nothing in the chamber, semi-automatic, what would I have to do to make it where it is able to fire?
You'd have to pull the upper receiver back to chamber around.
The receiver back. And what do you mean by receiver?
The top portion of the firearm, you would have to slide it back.
Okay, slide it back.
Yep.
And what does that do with the weapon or the gun?
That would round a chamber around.
And I guess what we call the bullet
Yes, sir.
or the casing or whatever you may do.
Yes, sir.
And then after you slide it back and push it back or whatever it may be, it loads a bullet. And then what are you able to do at that point?
If you pull the trigger, it would fire that round.
So if this gun that was in this individual's pocket, the alleged complainant, if you would have grabbed that gun and pulled the trigger, what would have happened as it sat in his pocket?
Nothing would have happened.
So would you have had to pull the slide back and load it?
Yes, sir.
So to fire?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is all, did you have a body cam on that day?
Yes, sir.
And is this all caught on your body cam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Also, at the scene, after you checked this, did you ever identify the victim? I'm sorry, not the victim, the alleged complainant.
Yes, sir. I believe at some point, an officer ID'd him. So at that point, I knew who he was.
Okay, and how did you identify him? You stated?
I didn't personally identify him. I believe it came from another officer.
There was a backpack at the scene, is that correct?
Defense is about ready to pounce
Yes,
up
sir.
with an objection.
And was that the backpack, or whose backpack was that?
I believe it was the complainant.
In terms of, unless I can take him on that, but I'll just, if he has personal knowledge.
Judge, I just asked whose backpack it was.
All right.
It could be the alleged complainant or somebody else.
You may take the witness on board here, Mr. Cox.
Sir, did you recover a backpack?
Yes, sir.
Oh. From your own personal knowledge, do you know who the backpack?
Believe given where it was,
From your own personal knowledge, do you know who the backpack was?
the complainant, sir.
Okay. You had seen that backpack before that day?
No, sir.
No.
This is funny to watch play out. It's painful, but
somehow, or you testifying that somehow you were able to determine whose backpack it was?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Now, you didn't see anybody purchase that backpack, but
No, sir.
and even if that backpack was it lying next to someone, or do you know?
The complainant, sir.
I'm sorry?
The complainant, sir.
Oh. The next question, were you there when the shooting occurred?
No, sir.
No. How long after the shooting did you leave?
Within minutes.
Within
minutes.
Within minutes or 10 minutes?
Within minutes of the call coming out.
Oh.
All right. Any other questions for voir dire, Mr. Cox?
No.
All right. State, you may continue with your line of question.
Because actually, I'm going to approach the witness.
Yes.
Show him state exhibit number 9. Can you identify that for him?
My initials and badge are on it, and it's my body worn camera footage, I believe.
And is it fair, you've reviewed this, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And does this accurately and fairly represent the scene that day when you arrived?
Yes, sir.
And is this the muted version of your body worn cam?
I believe so, sir.
Okay, you've witnessed this before, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
It has your initials on it, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is this your body cam?
Yes, sir.
State moves to enter state exhibit number 9. It's entered to defense for any objections.
Let's see if he wants a sidebar on this.
Yes.
And he does. Of course he wants a sidebar. All right, so I messed up I had a little system going where I was bouncing back and forth between camera 2 and camera 3 that are both watching this feed at the same time. And I messed it up. I do apologize. I'm going to try to fix it here. We can fast forward through this guy. Just approached.
All right. Any objections to state's exhibit number 9? Okay. Then state's exhibit number 9 is admitted without objection.
And just like previous, state exhibit number 9, we have copied it to our computer for purposes of streaming it easier for the reading objection from the supporter or for the defense.
Any
exact copy from our computer.
Any objection?
And we'll do the same thing in terms of switching. Oh, okay.
All right.
We'll do the same thing. No
Yes.
objection. So they're going to publish this video right now. This is the body camera footage from officer number 3, who was also not in uniform. So 2 out of uniform, 1 in uniform, but the one in uniform was wearing sunglasses. So I'm going to have to dock a point as far as like overall appearance for the, the uniform looks great. It goes well in court. When you're testifying, it gives authority to your statements. The sunglasses were like a little dink on that. I've opened the window here in the studio.
Okay, it's
and the sun is
stopped at
blurry.
11:29:31. Officer, I get to sort of go. hold on. We're gonna go ahead and play it a little bit further. Okay, we stopped at 11:29:38, officer. And what are we looking at here?
The complainant lying on the sidewalk.
The alleged complainant lying on the sidewalk?
Yes, sir.
And I see something that's sort of round or something to the bottom or to the right of his head. What is that?
I believe it's gonna be his backpack and then some headphones next to that.
What's that? And what color is that black? I'm sorry. What color is the backpack?
What color is the black backpack?
And then further away from the backpack, sitting on the ground, what is that?
I believe to be a pair of headphones.
Headphones? Okay. And this is when you first arrived at the scene. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll go ahead and play. What are you motioning there?
I'm asking for gloves so I can begin.
Why are you motioning for gloves?
To begin the triage, make sure we can do anything to save him.
What is one officer pulling off of his arm?
They're removing his backpack from his person.
A backpack?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what did you just pull out of his pocket?
I believe his phone, possibly a lanyard with some information on it, then his firearm.
And that's when you actually, well, tell me what you did with the firearm there, or tell the jury about it.
I dropped the mag out of the firearm and then pulled the upper receiver back and locked it in place. At that point, I can tell that there was no round in the chamber.
And if there was a round in there, what would have happened to that round when you pulled that slide back?
When the slide was pulled back, the round would have shot out, ejected out of the port.
And so when
Looks like a possible family
I
member
guess does
just
that make
left the
the
courtroom.
firearm then safe
Yes,
after
sir.
that?
That would be a safe firearm.
Okay.
I think the defense attorney hurt his knees from jumping up and shouting objection so much.
And those items that you just picked up, where were those items from?
They were from the complainant's person and his pockets.
So they're still watching the footage right now. It's still moving. You can see it in the reflection on the door. This is a murder trial. The defendant is in the tan suit in the top right-hand corner of your screen right now. His lawyer has an interesting, very slow style of delivery for questions. There have been 2 witnesses so far. We're on witness number 3.
And those items right there, why do you put them off to the side like that?
For scene integrity, to make sure we have all the items that belong to the complainant together. Whether it's evidence, personal property, we keep them all together.
And in your report, do you, I guess, in a sense, catalog some of the items in that backpack?
I believe it was cataloged by CSI.
Can you look at your report and see?
we're almost done with the footage for today. Let me just see where we're at. We're almost done with the day's video. We're trying to catch up on the previous days. They're still going live right now, so we're slowly catching up, but we're skipping all the breaks in the sidebars, so that'll help. This is not a bench trial. This is actually a jury trial.
Page 3.
The jury is there. So was it 16 shots or 15 plus 1? It was either 16 or 17 times he shot at or hit the defendant.
Gives a summary, but it just doesn't list who was what property. It gives a gives an inventory, but it doesn't tell who was placed in by.
Okay. And now, the body worn cam that you're wearing right now, you're walking. What are you doing?
Trying to get information from the officers that were initially on scene, the first ones that were on scene, just to try to figure out what witnesses and victims and suspects that we would have for the detectives when they get there.
And at any point, do you talk to individuals that were considered eyewitnesses or witnesses?
Yes, sir.
And did you list some of those individuals in your report?
Yes, sir.
And what are the names of those individuals?
McDowell Michael, he'd be listed as W1. Jason Lexion, W2, and Norton Raymond, he'll be W3.
And did you identify the person that was, I guess what you can call the accused or the shooter in this case?
Yes, in my report he's listed as S1, Harris Joseph Dale.
And does that have a date of birth for him?
4/27/88.
And is there an SAP number associated with this case that you wrote a report on?
Not the defendant.
What is it?
The victim.
It's going to be SAPD 2204-2315.
And at any point did you identify the alleged complainant?
Yes, sir. He's listed in my report.
And what did you identify that individual by?
Objection. That would be hearsay unless they can establish that it, well, we have to be based on hearsay, which doesn't have personal knowledge.
All right, Status, you want to lay the foundation how the witness was able to allegedly identify, please?
Yes. Officer, at any time did you go through the contents of that backpack or what was in the pockets of the alleged complainant?
These are petty objections, but they're going for anything they can. Obviously,
If you can answer the question.
The evidence is.
I believe he was identified through some of the identifying information in his backpack.
Well, let's go back to the actual contents. Rewind. And we're going to stop it at 11:36:34, 35. So, let me go back to.
Yes, she did. Judge is helping out. Liz, Brandy Churchwell has been following that. Lee, Shells and Lee, who are here with us, were up there at the protest. They sent me some pictures of what happened, what went down this morning at the protest for the Karen Reed trial.
What did you just pull out of his pocket?
Looks like it might have been a little wallet of his.
Okay. All right. Was there another firearm that's listed in your report?
Yes, sir.
And what type of firearm was that?
Same semi-automatic firearm, handgun.
What was the make of that weapon?
Canic 55.
And did you have a serial number associated with that?
Yes, sir. Serial number is going to be Tango 6472 Alpha Tango 3 2286.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Also, Civil, how did you first receive information and a notification about this?
E-tone goes off over our radios. E-tone's an alert message or a tone that notifies us that there's a priority response. When it went off, gives a location and what the call is, which happened to be a shooting in progress.
So you get the tone, and I imagine that you got some type of information in terms of what you're doing, correct?
Yes, sir.
How much time went by from the time you got that, you see the tone and the time you actually got to the location?
A few minutes, sir, can be specific.
And it's fair to say that when you arrived on that scene, there were other officers already.
Yes, sir.
Correct. And in terms of even how the complainant was positioned, you can't testify to how he was positioned originally, because when you saw him, there were other officers already there. You can't tell whether they moved him or not. Okay.
No, sir.
Now, you testified and from the video that at one point you go into the complainant's pocket, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I believe you testified that you removed some items, and one item was a firearm, correct?
Yes,
This is Cross, so we can lead.
It's fair to say that if you weren't there when the complainant was located by you in that position, you couldn't tell us if the other officer did anything with reference moving any items around before you got to the thing.
No, sir.
Now, once you got there, you indicated that you were, I believe you said that somehow you were informed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the complainant may have had a weapon?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you first approached the complainant as he was laying there, could you tell just by your observation, by looking at, that he was armed?
No, sir.
Oh. And it's fair to say that being a police officer, you're trained in terms of making observations, especially to make determinations if somebody is armed. I mean, part of your training is when you observe someone, not to say that you can, but if there's anything that indicated that somebody was armed, you kind of look out for those types of things. Is it fair to say? No.
I'm trained to look for
bulges,
weapons. Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Oh. So you couldn't see anything in terms of that indicated that he was armed when you saw him, but somehow there was information that gave you some indication that you may have been armed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall where that information came from, or who it came from?
I believe it came from an officer who was gathering information from a witness, or
And when you arrive actually before the ENT or emergency personnel will arrive, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it's fair to say that based on your training, that everyone is kind of particular about a scene of a crime, correct? I mean, particularly in terms of you just don't let anybody walking out of a crime, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you also testified that when you retrieve this firearm, one of the first things you did with it is that and you can correct me if I'm wrong, try to make sure that the magazine was out of the weapon, correct?
Clear the weapon, sir. Made it safe.
Okay. So was that in terms of when you took possession of the weapon, was the first thing that you recall doing was dropping the magazine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, is there a specific protocol that you do in terms of see a weapon and you want to make sure, I would imagine, that the weapon is safe, correct?
Yes, sir.
So is there a protocol that the first thing you want to do, or the first thing you should do as an officer, is if that weapon has a magazine, you want to drop the magazine?
For a semi-automatic weapon,
Right.
yes. If you try to rack the round out, it would just chamber another round. So you drop the magazine and then rack the slide back to clear it.
All right. So you want to drop the magazine and then clear the
Chamber.
the weapon, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's a different process. Drop the magazine and clearing it is another process, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And actually with the clearing of the weapon, if there was a say a ramp in the chain, or to clear it, would you do something that caused that particular bullet to eject from the weapon or no? How do you clear it?
So once you drop the magazine and you slide the upper receiver back, that round will eject out of the.
Eject out.
Yes, sir.
So the second thing you want to do after you take the magazine, make sure that you pull the top arch back to clear it, to eject the round. Right?
Yes, sir. And lock it.
Now, if you're looking at you take the magazine out. Now, do you recall, since you took possession of the weapon first, how many rounds were in the magazine?
I don't recall. I didn't count them. I can look at my report and tell you how many.
Well, you can look at it and see whether or not it refresh your recollection as to how many rounds were in the magazine.
Don't recall, sir.
I'm sorry?
I don't recall.
Well, you have your report with you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you look at your report,
while he's looking at his report,
would that help you refresh your recollection in terms of how many bullets were in the magazine?
I believe the CSI took the magazine and counted the rounds themselves.
So actually, the answer to my question is, you review your report, you can't tell by your report, correct?
In my report, in the evidence section, it'll say how many bullet rounds, but.
Do you have a recollection in terms of, you had the weapon first, you removed it. Do you have a recollection in terms of making a determination as to how many rounds were in the magazine?
No, sir.
No. And you did not, you did not write that information in in your report, correct?
No, sir.
Okay, so that guy could have taken a basic hunter's ed course
Now,
and gained that same knowledge in about 3 minutes. But there's nothing that's pertinent to
can
the
you
case.
determine, officer, whether in that particular weapon, whether there was a live round in it by just looking?
No, sir.
No. So if, say for instance, you're a police officer, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And they right. Well, just like the one that you got off the complaint. And that weapon was, say, pointed at you with your direction. Do you try to determine whether it's live round in the chamber just by looking at it?
No, sir.
Because what do? Do you make an assumption?
Yes, sir.
And what's that assumption?
So object to speculation.
Well, he's
Sustained.
well, you're principal, you have training.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in your training, I would imagine there's scenarios that you're taught about in terms of people with weapons, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you have training in terms of what you would do if you're an officer in a weapon. Like a handgun would point at you, correct? Your simulation training for that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Subject to relevance.
Sustained.
Now he has to move on.
Okay, so you can't tell whether just by looking at it, whether there's a
objection asked and answered.
Round in the chamber, right?
Objection asked and answered.
Overrule.
What?
Yes, sir. You can't tell.
Oh, in this particular weapon, could you tell whether just by looking at it, whether there were bullets in it in the magazine?
No, sir.
Okay, we are almost done. We've got a couple more minutes. We'll be done for the day on this one, or at
When
least a
you
lunch break.
arrived at the location, the complaining witness is on the sidewalk. You're attending to him. Did you do anything like, say, maybe putting a bag or something over his hand, bagging his hand?
I don't do anything with that, sir.
I'm sorry?
I didn't do that, sir.
Is there anything significant about, say, bagging someone's hand if you're investigating, say, a shoot?
That's up to the detectives and CSI, sir.
So that's beyond your scope of what you do?
Yes, sir.
Now in this particular weapon, there's a slide, correct? There's up on the top of the weapon, there's some type of device that slides the top of the weapon back.
I'm making an executive decision here.
And when you testified that's when you had that round ejected. Was that part of that process?
The round
sliding?
Yeah, I would subject to mischaracterization of the testimony.
Well,
All right.
I'll rephrase.
All right.
I'll rephrase. You testified that you cleared the weapon, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you also testified on direct examination that one second.
He's acting it out. He says, 1 second.
You also testified on direct examination that because there was not a bullet in the chamber, I guess, or that area of the weapon, that you would have to kind of like rack it, or there may be another term that used for it, to get that bullet to go from the magazine up into the chamber, correct? Is that?
Yes, sir. You'd have to pull the upper receiver back to round a chamber, or chamber around.
Okay. And it's fair to say that doesn't take to rack to get that bullet into that chamber. It doesn't take 5 minutes to do that, does it?
No, sir.
Less than a minute?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
Less than a minute?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. Less than 30 seconds?
Yes, sir.
Less than 10 seconds?
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
Sorry?
Yes, sir.
Maybe about, what, 1 second?
That's about right.
Yes, sir.
Pass witness.
State.
There was nothing.
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Subject.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You are only allowed to speak to attorneys for the state or attorneys for the defense. You're not allowed to speak to anyone else. You're not allowed to watch everything. Do you watch anything? Do you understand? All right, you may step down.
Okay, so
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop at this point. We'll be back tomorrow at
we're going to be back this afternoon for
1:30 p.m. I have a docket in the morning, and so I don't want you all waiting around. So we'll start at 1:30 p.m. We can go off the record. In this courtroom, you never know what the temperature is going to be. Sometimes it's super cold, but normally it's very hot. But I always say it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So if you want to bring a jacket, you're more than welcome to bring a jacket. I know that the chairs are hard. We do have some pillows in the back. If you want to bring those pillows out, you can. If you want to bring something for breakfast or for lunch, you're more than welcome to do so in the jury room. I'm sure Deputy Laura has showed you there's a refrigerator back there. There's a microwave and other things. So those are my instructions. Remember, you have heard some evidence in this case. You are not allowed to watch anything about this case. You are not allowed to do any investigation. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, thank you. And you will not be meeting here. Deputy Laura will show you where you need to meet, which will be in the jury room. And we can't start unless everyone is here. Okay?
So please be on time. Okay.
No.
I do have to be right here. I'm voiced this morning that I have a complaint with these at 6 in the morning. So can you instruct me on how to?
All right. If you'll wait in the back jury room. All right. Everyone, please rise.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a lunch break. We're going to come back and we're going to watch their second day this afternoon. Oops, let's go here. We're going to watch their second day this afternoon, and we will. My executive decision is I'm going to watch it on 1.25 speed. I realize that will make the judge talk very fast and the state talk even faster, but there is no way we're going to sit through 3 days, even if they're half days of this trial with that defense attorney slowly saying nothing, which is what he appears to be doing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. That means we're actually going to stop the stream. Everyone has to get up. They have to stretch. They have to walk around, run into the kitchen, check the fridge, see what you got. If you got anything good, text me. I'll be right over. I'm just kidding. We'll grab some food. We'll come back for the afternoon session of this. We're going to be caught up. Hopefully, well, we're not going to be completely caught up. We are going to skip all the breaks, and I'm working on that to make it a little faster in 1.25 speed. Hopefully, we'll be back maybe till caught up on Monday. Does that work? Caught up on Monday. I'm not sure if they're actually finishing up the case right now in the judge's courtroom. Have they gone to a verdict yet? We might be able to do it right away. She's still live right now. Let's see what. Yeah, it's still going on. So we're still good. Hopefully we'll be caught up on Monday, and then we'll be live with her. Unfortunately, once we catch up, The bad news is the lawyer slows down because I can't make him go faster than real time at that point. But at least it'll be less painful getting to that point. Yeah, get some caffeine, some drink or something that will make you a little bit more energetic. I think I dozed off twice, and you guys caught me each time. Have I been shopping during the trial? Yes, I'm shopping. I'm actually looking for a suit, which I buy on Amazon because I'm cheap like that. I can't afford one of those snazzy suits where the guy comes out with a tape measure and does all the measuring and everything and then gets you something that looks impeccable. Nope, that's not me. That's outside of my price range, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm shopping. I'm looking at the suits I bought previously. The last time I bought a suit was apparently in 2019, September of 2019. So I think I'm due a new suit because the old suit, I believe it shrunk over time, just mostly around the middle, which I hear is the normal thing for suits to do. Everybody I know who has suits says that's what theirs have done. So I'm looking to get a new suit. All right, that's what we're going to do. We just saw the shopping. Yeah, it's I outed myself, and I will say if I also out myself, also in my cart right now I have 2 HDMI cables as well because I've actually found that I need 2 short HDMI cables now. Did we follow the YNW? No, we tried a little bit, but no, we haven't followed all the way through. That's a huge one. I think that'll go for years. I don't know how long that's going to end, where that's going to go. Let's see. So yes, I have HDMI cables and batteries for my camera with a charger. I need these batteries right here. It's a special Sony battery. So I need a battery and a quick charger because right now I can only charge with these batteries when I turn my camera off and then plug it in. So I can only charge it when I'm not using my camera. I will need a lot of Velcro for purse. Sorry, for cable management. Her purse, I forgot which purse she had, but she had one. We will be back to watch part 2 this afternoon, and we'll be faster because this is painful. I'd rather sit in the dentist and have him experiment on my teeth for a couple hours than what we're sitting through right here. So we're going to speed it up a little bit. Thinking 1.25, maybe even faster. We'll be back. Give us. Can we do an hour? It's 12:45 right now. Can we be back at 1:45? Does that give everyone enough time to either make or order some food? Brandy's going to do the Melly hearing today. Awesome. She had the little black bag today. We'll see what purse she has this afternoon because it will be tomorrow's video because she's only doing half-day court sessions. Laura K says, you have 4 generations in my family of subscribers. Laura, that is awesome. That is really cool. I think you might have the record for number of generations that are subscribed. That is really neat. We'll be back later to pick up where we left off. So 1 hour. We'll be back just under 1 hour. So 58 minutes now is where we're going to be back. So thank you. I'm glad we found a little court case. This will be a short one, I think. It's going to be just a few days. If it goes beyond Monday or Tuesday, I would be surprised, honestly, even with a half-day schedule, even with a slow lawyer. But that's it. So we'll see you about in an hour. Have a great lunch. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone. Make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe until we go live again in about an hour. We'll see you. Bye.
All rise. Court is now in session.